Alrighty, welcome to episode 120 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. With the release of software version 2022.40.2, Tesla have added a software switch which can turn off camera-based detection of Sentry Mode events, which will greatly reduce nuisance triggers at locations such as busy shopping centre car parks. With the camera detection turned off, Sentry events will only be triggered if the car is impacted sufficiently hard to trigger inertial shock sensors, such as if the car is broken into. At the Tesla Semi delivery event, Elon Musk has confirmed that Tesla's Cybertruck will feature a 1000 volt class battery pack. Cybertrucks will be able to be charged by Tesla's new version 4 supercharger, which is capable of delivering more than 1 megawatt of energy with the aid of water-based coolant immersed copper cables. This will facilitate a tripling of current density per square millimetre of cable compared to Tesla's current version 3 superchargers. Following the Tesla Semi delivery event, Elon Musk tweeted that the current efficiency of the Semi is 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile. Combining that information with details shown in a video of the Semi driving 500 miles from Fremont to San Diego while consuming 93% of its full battery charge implies a total battery capacity including a 4% buffer amounting to about 950 kilowatt hours. Further data on Tesla's website outlining the Semi's charging time also implies the Semi is capable of being charged at about 1.3 megawatts. And that was this week's news. And a pretty short news session that was. Welcome everyone. If there's anyone new and you feel comfortable in doing so, please do say hello in the next few seconds. Or not. But if you want to say hello and you are new, just jump on anytime you like, or ask us a question in the chat. Alrighty. Any news items or questions or comments? Anyone want to start us off?
Well, what about the 4.7% of the 90,000 plus cars that were sold last month are EVs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
All right,
That's true.
It's not exciting.
No. I mean, it is good, but the problem is if you then compare it to say the December figures, then it will go down because you know how Tesla's are still a bit lumpy. But
yes.
It'd be good to have the annualized figures or the annual figures or the moving average figures, because then it's a lot smoother. It's just like, you know, when Tesla often beats, like in the UK, I think was it 20%? No, EVs had 20% of all sales in November. But again, that's probably a Tesla-led. I think Tesla delivered 38,000 cars into the UK. I think this year, so far. So it's all skewed, Nigel. But yeah, it's a good point. There were quite a few other news items. You know, there were people carrying on about at the Peterson Museum saying, "Oh, look, there was a two-door Cybertruck that was hiding in plain sight." But all it actually was the concept drawing, the original concept drawing, which if I can bring it up, or if someone can bring it up, you can actually see it's just a concept drawing, and it had nothing to do with being a future, two-door Cybertruck. Yeah. Anyone else? You got a second bite, Nigel, for news? No. No. Nigel's not playing.
Supposed to segue, Nigel. Come on.
Yes. Okay. Anyone that's fairly new with a new car, have you got any questions that you want to ask?
I have a question. My name's Russell.
Yes, Russell. Welcome.
Thank you. Cruise control or autopilot, is there a way to resume the set speed after a braking event? So if I'm traveling at, say, 63 and I press the brake for some reason, can I then press a button and go back to 63, or do I have to go through the whole process of setting the speed again? Because I haven't found a way yet.
What you can do, Russell, is there's a override setting which allows you with cruise control and autopilot to set the speed either to the speed limit of the road that you're on,
Yeah.
or the speed that you're traveling at that time.
Yes,
So
yeah, I'm aware of that.
I
Yeah.
like the latter one because sometimes, let's say you're on a freeway and there's lots of traffic, you're going 60, 70, and all of a sudden there's nothing ahead of you, then the car will accelerate towards 100 as soon as you engage autopilot, and that can sort of catch people out, feels uncomfortable. So I prefer to go to whatever speed you're doing at the time, and then you can increase it by 5 or 1 by scrolling the right scroll button.
Yeah, I can do that. So, but my question is slightly different. It's if I've braked and then I want to go back to that speed, I have to accelerate to that speed and then set set speed.
Yeah.
There's no way to do a resume like every other cruise control in the world.
No, I'm pretty sure you can, if you push and hold down the gear stalk, push and hold, I think 3 or 5 seconds, it then goes back to the posted speed.
That's the
Also has
posted
your-
speed, not your set speed.
No,
It's
that's
not
not the
speed you
previous set
wear out.
speed. No. Yeah.
No,
So-
it'll do the speed limit because I use
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can
Yeah.
you can press on the speed limit sign, it will accelerate to that speed
Yes.
limit.
Yeah. Right.
But
yeah.
that's about all you can do.
Yeah. Okay. Oh well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which,
No, that's right.
Russell, if you're used to say setting the speed limit a couple of k's over or under, whatever you're sort of comfortable with, you can also do that with the offset.
Yes.
So you can have a
Yes, I'm aware
fixed
of that too,
kilometres per hour offset, which can be useful.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to be able to set it to some speed that's, whatever the traffic's doing or not doing or something, and then just go back to that speed immediately. But looks like it's not possible.
No, not yet. There'll be an
Not
update
yet.
one day,
Yeah. Maybe.
or a voice command or some crap like that.
Okay. I do have another question. Anyone's on a novated lease and is
Oh, sorry,
charging it.
just 2 seconds, Russell. That's
Yeah.
go again. Was that Pete?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
So-
found the
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So
concept.
that's the conceptual drawing, and if you look at that closely, you can actually see. Originally, there was going to be a window in the back part of the ute section, and that is different to the current. So if you just remember that for a moment, that's zoomed in. And okay, Pete, I'm just going to swap you over.
Yep.
So you can actually see that's actually gone. So that was going to be there, but they decided against it. But clearly the conceptual drawing and the actual, this is the first prototype, are basically identical for all intents and purposes. Sorry, so Russell, you were asking.
Yeah, anyone's on a novated lease, which I am at the moment, but I'm in a rental property with no solar panels, so I'm charging off the grid. Have you found a way to get your novated lease manager, whatever they're called, to reimburse you for charging costs out of your home?
No, I'm on a novated lease. We've got 2 cars novated lease, and I've had, first one was in February, and we had that discussion. They had no mechanism, no way of doing it, and I asked them again in August when the second one came in, and they just said there's no mechanism, there's no way for them to know the power you're using and metering and all that. They didn't say it was never going to be possible, but at the moment they said they're not possible. And I said, look, I can send you the monthly, like from Tesla, you get, this is how much electricity you've charged. But it was just a matter of too new, don't know how to do it, no mechanism.
Yeah. No, I'm with a novated lease company called Easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also have an app that track my electricity usage at the location, which is my home, and at a tariff, and they reimburse me fully, so I don't see the issue. I just put it under fuel, and I attach the PDF of that month's consumption, and I have no problems with it.
Okay, what app do you use? It's not Tessie, is it? Or something else?
No, I think it's EV or something. I
Okay.
talk under correction now. I can't remember out of the top of my head. Just give me a few seconds and I'll search for you and then I'll tell you.
So shop around. I'm stuck because I only have one. I can only use one company. Can't use any other company.
Yeah, I'm stuck with Maxia.
Yeah. So just keep asking. I do get these handy dandy things. My Shell and BP fuel card,
No.
which I find extremely useless. Yeah,
Oh, they actually sent you fuel cards.
Yep.
Wow. That's for the gen set in the boot.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's because it's the way they've set their things up.
Yeah.
That's their software, their processes, and I don't know. So I actually use them for car washes, and it comes through. So far, I spent $53 on fuel for my Tesla.
Okay, thanks.
Cool.
Alrighty.
I was wondering, with our cars that were supposed to got better with the last, in terms of how fast you're going and that sort of stuff. Like how ours was 2Ks, you do 2Ks over to do the proper GPS speed. I was wondering if, like Pete and Nigel or Harold, if you guys have worked out if that's still true, because I don't really want to get a speeding fine or not.
Mine's about 1.
One over.
So if I'm doing 91 and I pass one of those illuminated speed things, it says 90.
Okay.
Mine's spot on.
My Y seems to be spot on.
Me too.
I've gone past several of those. There's a few radar, where it has like the happy face, the smiley face, if you're doing less than 50 or whatever, and it actually shows you the speed. I get, if I do 50 indicated, it shows on the sign 50, and it's done it at about 3 different locations. My X was reading fast, so in other words, I'd have to go faster to get the real speed. But my Y, I think my Y is as close to spot on as you can get.
Yeah. So Pete, Pete, with yours, how yours and mine were the same, like your black one. So is that still true for yours, or you don't drive it anymore that you got the Y?
So Paul, were you speaking to me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
You, Pete.
Yeah.
Because you have the black.
3.
Like me.
The stealth. Yeah.
Yeah, the stealth. So,
Yeah. I can't remember with that one actually, but I did make it a point to check with the Model Y on the lap that Harold and I did, and same thing on more than a couple of occasions. It was pretty much spot on, but I don't.
I know that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't recall, to be honest, Paul. Sorry, mate. Yeah.
No worries.
I'll see if I'll see if I can take notice and let you know.
Yeah. Maybe you and Nigel do a collab or something. We'll do one with Harold. There you go. Do a 3-way collab.
I would have to
I
do
just
it.
put the name for the field tracker app
Thanks,
in the chat. It's EEVEE. It's EV. So that's the app that I use to track the fuel and give to the novated lease people. You can set it to automatically email you a report every month or every quarter or every year or whatever you want to slice and dice it.
And that'll give you charges at different locations?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Could I just ask you on your novated leaf, has anyone got the FBT clarity on that one yet from the novated leases?
No, not yet. I was going to leave it till next year, so things
Right.
settle down a bit.
Do you mean, James, for existing cars, or do you mean
for-
newly purchased ones in this financial year?
And backdated from I think July the 1st, they said. So I've got one that's eligible and one that's not. But I send them in a weekly email and they keep on saying, don't know.
Oh, you mean for the current payments? That's right,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the way it's been characterised already is inaccurate and probably needs to be revised for the tax year.
Yeah. Right. No, we're just waiting. Hopefully get it back.
Yeah, I think they will eventually get their stuff together. It's that classic thing of technically it's been backdated retrospectively, so everyone's super cautious, and often the government's fairly slow or the ATO is fairly slow in giving them, those advisory bulletins to tell them exactly what to do with.
Right. So they don't want to get it wrong and then end up being in trouble. So I guess it's okay as long as it's coming. But it's interesting to see. Here's my novated lease budget. So that's what a Tesla costs on novated lease for 9 months. Nothing for tires, nothing for rego, nothing for maintenance, and $56 for petrol.
So sorry, what was? If you can just flick that back for a second, James. What does what's the maintenance? 0 of 1,005.
Oh, that means
or-
I've spent nothing. So for in 9 months, I've had zero maintenance done.
Yeah, but
So
why
they
is it?
allow
What?
a year. They
Go on.
allow a yearly budget of $1,005
Gotcha.
to for the budget. So once again, I don't think they really know what an electric vehicle costs to maintain a year. So that's going into credit. Rego, I think they know that one, but tires as well. But yeah,
Right.
those fuel cards, it says on it, the only thing I can use it for is fuel or car washes. So I've had, I think, 4 car washes, but that
Yeah.
comes up as fuel, which is always amusing.
Cool. Cool.
James.
Yep.
I think you're missing one column there on that
What's that one?
breakdown there, mate. Well, Pete Petrosky, he's got the same budget with his, but he has online shopping, and he's up to about 28,000 with his online shopping. So maybe you want to just put your accessories in there as well, and then.
Oh yeah, I think I've got a spreadsheet. I think I'm up to $2,635 for accessories for the 3, and about the same for the Y.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yes, it'd be nice if you could. Well, what about under maintenance? You're maintaining your car.
I'm going to try that.
Boot liner,
Yep.
PPF or not.
Yeah. Yep.
Shares.
Mud flaps.
Shares, yeah, Tesla shares. You could buy a couple of Tesla shares.
You can buy a few more now.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, I've got a nice little spreadsheet there. There's the
Oh, cool.
there's the 3. That's the stuff we bought for the 3. And
Oof.
that only came out as $2,600, but that includes some other stuff. And you can see the second Tesla, we're a little bit more restrained.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like your second kid. The second kid never gets the same treatment as the first one.
Yeah, the Cybertruck's getting nothing.
Just put it
Yes.
outside.
Yeah.
No PPF on the Cybertruck.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck no.
Yeah, for it. Yeah.
But yes, I think that's the usual thing, isn't it? For the first Tesla, I think we ended up with $2,655 worth of things bought in
Wow.
that 6-month waiting time.
12 volt, 120 watt charger. Nice. Type 2 cable.
Pete's list won't be ready for a while. The accountant firms are still working on it, along with Australia Post. So once they get that sorted out, we're going to put some figures up.
Well, it's hard to find staff at the moment, so they're just trying to recruit a few extra people to add it on.
They need it. They
Big
definitely
special
need it.
orders.
He needs what's Tesla's Dojo computer to do the number crunching.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Anyone else got any other questions? We're in quick fire session.
I've got a quick question. Often I pick my daughters up from work at night, and when you sit and park, you illuminate like a lighthouse. Is there a quick way to go into stealth mode so you're not like shining your headlights and everyone's staring at you?
I normally just open the door and just lift your butt off the seat for a sec.
All right.
Flicks it off, or you could just tap the screen and turn your lights off. Then
Yeah, I
way-
did that, and then I drove home the other night without the lights back on.
Yeah, then do the open door, lift your butt.
All right.
That turns them off.
Yeah.
And then
At
you
the
can shut
moment, I'm
the door.
going to Netflix, and that tends to do it. But I thought there might be a button or shortcut I'm missing somewhere.
Done.
Can't you just turn your dome lights off? Doesn't that just do it?
I don't have
Or do you
one
mean your headlights are on?
on. He means your headlights
Yeah,
when you
your
park.
headlights are on, your dome lights on. You're kind of sitting there, illuminated, sitting in this dark car park.
If you turn your headlights after exit off,
Yeah.
and
No,
dome
I'm
lights
sitting in the
off.
car. I'm sitting in the car park waiting for them to finish work and come out.
Yeah.
and you're in park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a quick way.
James, you like doing a drug deal or something?
Yeah. Well, okay. You saw through my charade there, Jared. Yes.
Yeah, I could see straight through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight through that charade of the old, picking up my daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Waters.
And that's at the airport, isn't it? Yeah, the international. Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Speaking of which, has anyone been there? There's a free charger near the airport. I went there and it's fenced off.
CFO. Is that the
No,
DFO?
yeah, DFO one's there, but you can only stay for an hour before you have to pay for parking and being a free. But there's another one around what's Twiggy Forest's metals company. They got
FMG.
one FMG. They got one on the back of theirs.
Is it type 2? Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe they want
you mean
everything to go high.
You mean this one? This one here?
It's round near where the
Fortescue
taxi
Future
ramping
Industries
is.
manufacturing facility.
Yeah.
It's got a low score.
Yeah.
Because it says December the 2nd, so it's pretty fresh. So someone's charged there. But its low score is because someone said station currently down and being repaired.
All right.
We will update once it's back up and running. Thank you. From Lauren Howell.
Cool.
So that was on the 5th. So maybe that's why.
It's the same with the ones at DFO that are on the Charge Fox. They're blacked out at the moment.
That's this one here.
Yeah, but
Looks like
they're
the
in
station
Charge
is off.
Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
both
Good job.
are out.
Yes. You'd almost think they were tritiums, but they're not.
They're not. Oh, I saw a Bjorn video today for the Kempower. We went and visited Kempower. Awesome. I hope we get the cables that they're really long.
We do. We're getting the C.
We are getting
what's it called? The C type or something, which is the one that's all in one box.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll bring that one up, that video, because there should be an example of it. I'll just get that up if Bjorn is quiet and plays nice.
What's up?
While we're waiting, what's wrong with
Yes.
Alex? Have you fallen over?
Where's
Okay,
that?
so this is these are the units there, so that you can actually see they've got the sprung cable guides holders. So that's all built in as one unit. Whereas before, when they're inside, oops. They are, sorry, there. These are the units. I'll find it in a sec. Sorry about that.
No
Talk amongst yourselves. But yeah, they're self-contained, and the great thing is they're going to be 150 kilowatt units mostly. I think except for Kalbarri, which will be 75 kilowatts or something like that. So yeah, they're pretty good units. The only thing we're not sure of is how they perform in the heat, but we'll find that out in the next 6 to 12 months. But yeah, Paul, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
So
When do you
yes,
think that Kalbarri one may be finished operational?
no idea.
I've got an
I think that
official-
press release said early next year.
Two
So-
weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
2 weeks.
So according to the press release,
Not
it was
far off.
early next year.
Yeah.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances or whatever. So I doubt it'll be. It's obviously not going to be a Christmas present, but yeah, it might be a New Year's or maybe before Australia Day. So it might be useful for a couple of people going up there to Kalbarri. But you still got to go to Jurien Bay and charge. Apparently, it's if you look at PlugShare actually it's slightly ambiguous, but I don't think Rob's in the house. But Rob clarified that
It's
at
$50 an hour, is it?
no, yes and no. It's a flat $50 fee. Sorry, it's a $50 flag fall. So what the actual thing says is $50 per hour to cover operations and maintenance. but what it actually is it's $50 for the first hour or part thereof, and then $50 per hour prorated for any time after that. So that's intended to prevent people sitting there for, for 90 minutes, wringing out the last 1 or 2% in their battery packs, especially if they've got long range cars with the NCA chemistry, which is slow to top right up, or if you've got an old S or an X, and you just sit there thinking, well, I've paid $50 a mile, or just sit here for an hour and a half, or just leave the car there while you have lunch or something. So it's basically $50 flag fall. Yeah. So if you go there with the intention of getting 2 kilowatt hours and paying not very much, you'll be paying $50 flat. But if you stay longer than an hour, then you'll be paying another $50 per hour, but on a pro rata basis.
Yeah.
What about Lancelin? When's that going up and running?
Synergy or Tesla?
Either wouldn't.
Don't know. There's been no government announcement on Lancelin at all. In fact, the only thing the government's announced, or the ministers have announced, is Kalbarri, Geraldton and Northampton. Yeah. So Lancelin's notably absent, and Jurien Bay. So that means presumably initially, if you want to go up there, you'll have to basically either hypermile, or if you've got a long range long range 3, well, or an S or an X, you could just make it to Geraldton in one leap. Or you might just have to charge up at Jurien.
Yeah. And
if it's $50 flat, well, then you might as well get a substantial charge, but spend less than an hour there,
So is there a way for us to push Tesla to get superchargers out and about? Anything we can do to help?
The short answer is basically no. They play to their own tune. Notably, Lancelin's pin has gone missing. So perhaps that's just because it's not going to make it to Q1 next year, which is when the pin said it was going to be done. Yeah. Mandra's one, I think, still says Q1, which is the only pin we've got now, because we've also lost the Perth pin. So, yeah, I don't know, but of course we do know that Albany, the city of Albany, have finished all of the car park, so it's ready for installation. And yes, it's 403 k's from basic. Oh no, sorry, that's from another location, but
that's from my
roughly.
House. That's my house north of Joondalup.
Yeah.
So in a standard range, 39 minutes stop at Jurien Bay, so you've about got your $50 worth. So you're saying that a performance on long range would make it to Geraldton?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, like even my Y can make it, has made it from Fitzroy Crossing to Broome, and that's 401 k's. Right. So you can make 403 or 410. You just can't do it at the speed limit. And it might be harder if you're coming back the other way to Perth when the southwest is hitting hard on the coast.
So the $50
on the map, it's downhill.
Yeah, that's right.
Regen down.
That's right. So Paul, you've got your hand up.
Paul Douglas. Thanks, Harold. I've got my Y now, and having a great time with it. Took it to Margaret River for a spin last week. It was really great. Ran into another young couple with a brand new Y, and
was there much damage?
No. Good one. I recommended that they join the club because they hadn't heard of it, so we might get another member out of them.
Very good.
I'm looking at taking a trip to Adelaide for Christmas and back in the new year. I'd like some help. I know you've done it, but I'd like to, if possible, get the club spare tyre to take with me, if it's available.
Is that for a Model Y?
Y, yeah.
Whereabouts are you, Paul?
What date? What dates, Paul?
Planning on leaving here about the 18th of this month, and
Yep.
back about the 7th, somewhere around that, 7 to 10 January.
And whereabouts in Perth do you live, Paul?
In Adderale.
Right.
And it's a Y. I've just got to check something, Paul, because I've got. Oh no, that's okay. I've only got a cons going out. I think you'll be okay.
I don't need a power supply.
No. I think you'll be okay. Let me just check something very quickly. Here we go.
If not, Harold, I can always supply mine. So.
Yeah. No, I don't. Oh, I'm not sure now. Sorry, I'm having a little conniption. Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I just think about something for a sec.
The other thing that I'm wondering if there's somewhere, I thought I'd seen a screen somewhere where you get your power efficiency against speed shown on display on a graphical layout. Has anyone can give me any information on that?
In what sense?
On the screen, you've got down the bottom, you press on, is it the 3 dots, and it comes up, and then you can get, it's a little tiny graph icon. You press on that, and if you've programmed in your destination, it will give you a graph of your power expected and power use.
That's in the navigation screen, is it?
No, it's right at the bottom of the icons where you've got sentry mode and
the
so
radio
on at the bottom.
Yeah, that one.
There we go. There we
That's
go.
it. The energy one.
Yeah, you
Sorry,
press
I
on the
missed it.
3
Oh, that one there. Yeah, yeah.
there, and then you've got energy. That's the graph.
Aha, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. Now,
Paul, where are you going? Where's your trip?
Adelaide.
Oh, easy.
Now, I would just want to someone who's done it, what the number of days I should allow, and where the stopovers, like what's the best places to stop over and planning your charging and like for overnighting.
Yeah, sure. So I've gone the anti-clockwise. Yeah, I've gone the anti-clockwise direction, which is the direction you'd be going, Paul.
Yeah.
So if we just get plug share, whoops, a little bit too zoomed out, and just select. So what have you got? You've got 3-phase. You've got a 3-phase charger. Okay.
3-phase.
3-phase, and we'll go Tesla. So
Tesla.
I do remember that on my first day, and I did bash it out fairly quickly. I got to Balladonia from Perth.
Yeah,
on the first day.
I was planning Balladonia. I was just wondering whether it was.
It's a long day. If you start early, one huge advantage you have is that you're starting with probably more than an hour and a half more daylight.
Yeah,
which makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I can get away at 4 o'clock in the morning from here. Precisely.
So you can get to Balladonia. At absolute minimum, you can get to Norseman.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you're going into Model Y, actually, it's probably Balladonia is going to be a bit hard going. You'd certainly get to Norseman. And then Norseman, if you charge up at Balladonia, which has got the 22 kilowatt Delta charger. So you can see the photo of it there. Now you can then choose to go to Kaiguna, or you can just go to Madura Pass. You just have to do these distances just to check out. I haven't got handy what the distance is between Balladonia maps.
Just while Harold's looking at that, Paul, are you going there to get in a hurry? Because there is some really nice places to stop and to see as a part of a tourist. So
I've done the
are you
trip.
trying to get there? Oh, you've done the trip.
I've done the trip a lot of times. I've done the tourist bit all along there. Yeah, there's some great spots, especially along the Bight.
Yeah. No worries. He's one of the quickest ways. So Harold's your man. Read his blog.
310 kilometres, Harold, between Belladonna and Medora Pass.
Yeah, cool. For some reason my thing is demented, and because it wants to go by public transport. That's going to be awkward. 337 k's. So is that what you said, Pete?
Oh, okay. I've had it.
Yeah, okay. So it's 337. So yes, you can easily make that. So what you can do, Paul, is just go from Belladonna to Majura.
Yeah.
And then you can easily get to Eucla. Or Border Village. Actually, sorry, Border Village. And why is that not showing? Oh, it is. There it is there, right, Border Village.
Yeah.
Eucla's a little bit hard. And then once you get to Border Village, you can get to past Ceduna, possibly to Poochera, or maybe Kimber. I do recall when I was coming back the other way, my ex, which has similar capabilities, I went from Kimber to Border Village. So you can go from Border Village to Kimber.
In one charge?
No, in one day.
Say, that's
no. In one day, you've got to charge at Nullarbor, then you've got to charge at Penong. You can do a top up at Ceduna at the motel. They've got a destination charger there.
I was thinking of overnighting in Ceduna.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Then Ceduna has at the East West Motel.
Yeah.
There's basically charging there, so you could just take it easy.
There's two chargers, and it's quite easy to use, which is great.
Yeah.
And then once you're
While we're talking
Ceduna,
about Kimber, can I just throw in that they don't want to work over weekends, so plan not to charge in Kimber over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Good point, Steve. Because it's basically a business, so that's Kimber there. And then look, once you're basically anywhere near, like even Ceduna, where you're in Adelaide the next day, and once you're in Adelaide, the world's your oyster. Whereabouts you're going finally?
No.
Like after then, you just navigate, and your car will just tell you where to go.
You should be
and
able
how long
to
it's
do
going to take.
Ceduna to Adelaide in a day.
Oh, easily. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought I'd do. To Belladonna, or and you're recommending Norseman. Do Norseman? There's a motel or accommodation there? I guess you'd get charging at.
No, when you're at Norseman. So if we zoom into Norseman, look at that mouse. It's just mental. Okay, here we go. So if you zoom right into Norseman, the actual caravan park is up here, the Gateway Caravan Park.
Yeah.
And it's a walk down the hill to the oval, which is.
Oh yeah.
So the charger is that pin is accurate. I've put it exactly where it is. So then you just walk up to the main street, and then you walk uphill, unfortunately, up to the caravan park here. You can, and they've got like chalets just here.
Yeah.
And they do have 10 amp outlets, or there might be 15s actually.
Yeah,
so you could sort of charge mostly at the oval, say for a couple of hours, and then unplug and then take the car up. Look, to be perfectly honest, I left my X down here overnight. I left my Y a couple of times, and my Y once by itself, because look, that town's pretty quiet. The oval's pretty quiet.
Yeah. I could always take it back to charge it up down there, and then take it back up to the caravan park, and just let it trickle on the 15 amp or a 10 amp outlet overnight.
Yeah, but what you do want is to be fairly charged up by the morning, because it's all about time and motion. So the best charging is the charging you're doing while you're sleeping, because that costs you no time.
Yeah.
but you do want to be at 100%. But depending on when you get to Norseman, if you get there early, then yeah, by all means, you know, you could go to the pub, which is just, I think it's around about here, from memory, and get a meal while it's charging. And then if it's
Yeah.
not too late, you can then go and pick your car up and, yeah, like you suggest, just plug it into the 10 or 15 amps,
Yeah.
and charge it up, or just leave it there overnight and just walk up,
Yeah.
and then in the morning just walk back. It's up to you. But yeah, so basically off the top of my head, you've got Norseman. Just go back to the map.
I saw
So you've got
on
one
Black-
night. Go on.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you've got Norseman first night, Eucla or Border Village second night. So that's 2 nights. Then, well, Ceduna, Kimber, whatever, one or the other, and then basically Adelaide. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4th night you're in Adelaide, and then after
So
that,
that's Norseman, Border Village.
well, Ceduna / Kimber, whatever. Yeah. You might actually find that you'll get to Ceduna a bit earlier in the day, and well, whatever, you can use it as a rest day.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just chill out.
Yeah. I saw that the one at Meriden, I think it is, the wheat fields,
Wheat belt.
wheat belt one is down at the moment. It says a problem with it.
Okay, so if we just click on the destination charger at the visitor centre, it's got a score of 5.9 and nothing working on the 2nd of December. Okay, that's okay, because you can go to you've got a Type 2 cable, and you can go to
Yeah.
the Meriden Regional Community Leisure Centre, and oh, that was Pete's photo, Naughty Pete. And there's a couple of
Oh, yeah.
EO chargers. They actually do have cables. I don't know how well they work, but if you bring your own, obviously, and
plug in.
that's the same rate. That gets you 11 kilowatts at the recreation centre.
Yeah. Fair enough. I didn't realise there was a second one there.
There is, and in fact, I just checked that rating. That's rated 10, so it means it's okay. So yes, that one worked.
Yeah.
Like you see there, the northern one is working well. Couldn't get the southern one to work. They are a little bit iffy because they originally were. They need to be used with an app, but now they're not. Well, for a while they've been free issue, but it can sometimes take a couple of goes to unplug, plug back in to get it to actually start charging.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also by all means have a go at the Wheat Belt visitor centre, Central Wheat Belt visitor centre, where the destination charges are, just in case they've got them working again, because it might just be a circuit breaker that's popped or something in the building, and no one's gotten around
No one's gone to look at it. Yep.
Yeah. After that, you've got Southern Cross. So you charge up at Southern Cross at the Oval on a 3-phase outlet. The pro tip there is, is where the pin is. It looks like it's on the outside, but it's actually on the inside. So you drive through this entry here and just drive along the dirt a bit. You drive under this roof, go round, park there, and it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
You can sort of see where it is in relation to the building, and it's just an outlet. There's a couple of outlets there.
Yeah.
And you've got barbecue area. And then depending on how you're going to drive your car, you could then just drive all the way to Norseman if you're careful, or you could just do a top up at Cora Retreat. Which seems to be working. Yep, John's used it. So don't worry about the 20 kilowatts. It's just 11 that you'll get.
Yeah.
And then you're at Norseman.
The one at Southern Cross, that's just 3-phase 5-pin, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Or if you stay overnight at Southern Cross Caravan Park, they will often make available the powered side if you want to do 15 amps if you're staying in one of the cabins. So still options for you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks. That's good. Once you get to Madura and Border Village and all those places, plug share, what's said on there seems to be pretty accurate. I take it.
Yeah, Border Village is you've got to actually go. You've got to sort of get escorted in a sense because it's actually in a back shed. Looks a little bit like this. It's actually in the back of the back shed.
Yeah.
So and that's sort of, again, this pin drop will be accurate. It's basically behind the compound. So I think from memory, you go in here, there's a gate. Well, there might be one there actually as well. And you go around.
But Harold, you go around the left, as you said the second time. You can't get around to the right. That's through staff quarters and stuff like that.
That one there. So it's this one here. Yeah.
So you organise it at the servo.
Well, that pin's moved. You just go into reception or where the counter is and just say, hey, you're an EV. That pin's moved, unfortunately. So that's no good. Anyway, because it's not there. It's in the back of the shed.
Any comments in the comment section?
Harold, I think it is there, isn't it? That little shed there. So it's the other side of that little bit of roadway there.
Yeah, but Steve, it's not there. If by shed you mean this,
yes,
then the pin, that one there, then this pin should be moved to that shed, not to this driveway. But anyway,
sure. It's the other side of that little track. It's still the entrance, and where you stop to charge is on the southeastern corner of that shed you were pointing at. So it's pretty close, I think.
Oh well, I'm being a pin Nazi. I'm going to beg to differ, but but yeah, it should be in this shed because it's basically that the PowerPoint is basically, if you look at this image, it's in the back of this shed, and that's that front wall.
Oh yeah.
Harold, maybe go for a drive tomorrow and just check that pin out and see where it is. And
yeah, sure. I might do that, Jared.
I'll check it out and let you know.
Maybe.
If I
get it.
I'll do it for you, Harold. Don't worry.
So,
just move it 5 meters.
Yeah, I'll measure it down to the last decimal point.
Well, yeah, go on. Go, Paul.
Did you have a list, or have you done a spreadsheet of all your stops and where you charged and what you charged and things like that?
I haven't. I did make up a spreadsheet of all of the distance intervals, but to be honest, going across the Nullarbor, there's no scary distances.
No.
Unlike, say, in the Kimberley, where there's 400 k's, between Fitzroy Crossing and Broome, and nothing else.
Yeah.
Sorry, there is Derby, but that gives you an 80-kilometre diversion.
And you were getting, were you getting over 400 k's on your range?
It depends. So if you're on the Hume Highway, you can do the speed limit and get 400 k's. If you're on certain sections of road with the wind going in certain directions, you can struggle to get 400 k. You can't get 400 k's at the speed limit. You'd have to do 100 or sometimes 90. So
what would you recommend for going across the Nullarbor? Sit on 100?
Okay, because you're on an 11 kilowatt charger, you're on AC charging, I personally would slow down a bit. I'd be doing more like 100 k's.
Yeah,
and possibly even 90, because if you do 90, you'll actually spend less time. You'll spend a little bit more time on the road, but a fair bit less time by the side of the road charging. But of course, if it's your last leg for that day and you've got spare battery capacity, then just gun it at 110, because it doesn't matter how empty you get to, how flat you are once you get to your destination, because then you'll just be charging up all night. It's just that during the day, you don't want to chew the juice, because you'll have to put it back in so you can make it to your last stop that day.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you can moderate your speed. So if you're finding that you've got a bit of surplus, then just gun it at the speed limit for your last leg, and that way you get there sooner, so you can relax sooner. And
overnight, okay.
Well, it makes sense to be driving at 110 kilometres an hour, only to be then at the side of the road and putting it back in at 70 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, yeah. I understand.
exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
It's averaging it out. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And if you can draft behind, if you can find yourself a nice road train and they're doing 90 and you can just hop behind them, tuck in behind them,
Yeah.
then you've got a really relaxing trip and you're going to get awesome efficiency, and it'll still be quite a quick trip. It's not slow,
Yeah.
but you'll spend a lot less time by the side of the road at the next
Charging.
stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. How did you go with the spare tire?
Oh,
Back to the spare
so I
tire.
think there'll be a spare available. So
If there's not Harold, then Paul can borrow mine. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So Paul, give me a ring on that number there in the chat. And
oh, sorry, I missed it.
it's just in the chat. You can't miss the chat. It's always
No,
there.
who was responsible for putting about my hair in the chat there? I just noticed. Was that you, James? Yeah, right. Okay. Gotcha. I understand. I thought it would have been
You got the chat there, Paul?
No, I haven't. Down the bottom, is it?
Or have you got a pen?
What are you?
Yeah.
On?
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, so just give me a buzz. The thing is, you'll have to collect it no later than Sunday afternoon because I'm flying out to Europe then.
Oh, half your luck.
Yeah, so
I've been over to your place before when I picked up the cable.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
So just give me a buzz, and I'll most likely be home most days Sunday because I'll be packing.
That's this Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come over here. What time would suit you?
Oh,
6 in the morning.
Just no. Just ring me. Just ring me, Paul. You know, whenever. It can be midday, you know, afternoonish, whatever.
Okay.
Oh, preferably before 6.
Oh yeah.
Because I'll start. I'll be in the frenzy of
afternoon.
packing or starting to pack by then. So
I think thinking of morning or afternoon.
Oh yeah, morning. That'll be fine. Just if you can give me say half an hour or an hour notice, just in case I'm out, I can just leave the tire out and you can just do a dead collect.
And I guess if anyone's going past Harold's house about 8:30 going to the airport, that'd be great. Just for 2 people.
I've actually got a lift. I've got a lift sorted in a Tesla, so that's all good. In a Model X, so it's going luxurious style, so it'll be all good. But yeah, Paul, and obviously, feel free to give me a buzz or whatever. I mean, or you'll be on Ask Us Anything next week anyway.
I'll sit down and plan a trip out on PlugShare this week. And then I'll, if I've got any problems, I'll bring it up next week.
You can basically almost charge at every location. I mean, except Quora Retreat, you probably won't need to, but just see how you go. You might just want to do a little top up if you sort of, just see how you go. Depends on the wind, prevailing winds. But yeah, you'll be fine.
And Paul, make sure you support the places that you do charge. So, you know, maybe eat a few dim sims, you know, things like that.
Double dim sims.
When you go in, every little bit of support to the people that are providing charging for us.
I usually do, stop and have a coffee and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. Well,
do a bit of cleaning.
You'll be there for a couple of hours each location, so you'll have plenty of time to work out what to snack on.
Unload one of the trucks, maybe. You know? Help re-roof the roof.
And Paul, if you're thinking of stopping at Quora Retreat, the entrance is actually quite hard to see. You need to have your eyes open and take note of navigation. It'll get you there, but it's a really small sign off onto a dirt track on the heading north.
Yeah.
So as you're heading east, it's on the left-hand side, and they may have put a little flag there now, but it's still hard to see.
Yeah.
But your navigation is deadly accurate,
It is.
Steve. It's really good actually. It really does tell you exactly when to turn.
So trust the nav. Don't look for a nice tarred road, or else you'll go past.
I punched in the navigation the other night from Perth to Tanunda in South Australia, the Barossa Valley, and it came back and said, no, we don't have that route.
Yes. Oh, but speaking of which, something that everyone should be aware of is if you plug in a destination a couple of hundred k's away from Perth, just make sure the nav doesn't do something silly like tell you to go to the Karrinyup supercharger or the Williams supercharger or Eaton or whatever, because it often will do that, even though you're actually in the opposite direction or away from that thing. It'll just naturally tell you to do that. So just be aware and just tap the remove charging stops. You've got to do it fairly quickly on the route. Otherwise, it'll keep guiding you to go backtrack towards a supercharger. And if you're not on the ball, you might do what the car says and waste time basically going to a supercharger that you'll end up with less juice by the time you've driven to the supercharger and then back to where you were. So just be aware of that. Unfortunately, the car is persistent in trying to involve superchargers on every longer trip, even if they're in the wrong direction.
Yeah, well, there's no superchargers out that way at all, is it?
No, first one's Clare, and I forget how many k's it is, but it's a lot. It's 5,000. No, 2,500 k's, 3,000 k's, something like that.
The other side of Kimber, which is halfway across, they tell us.
Yeah.
It's around about 300.
Is Kimber the halfway mark?
Well, that's if you go to the big galah, that's what they've got a sign there saying we're halfway across Australia.
Oh, from Sydney to Perth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And be prepared when you get to Sydney, because the roads are absolute crap in Sydney. Absolute garbage. I've never driven on such crappy roads in my life. No wonder that state's going down the toilet.
I'm not going to Sydney. I'm only going as far as Adelaide.
Oh, you'd be right then. And then your car makes all these funny sounds when you get to Sydney. Ping, ping, ping. So it's all about the tolls in Sydney.
Oh, toll
yes.
roads, yeah.
Yes.
It's very hard to get in and out of anywhere around there without getting hammered with tolls.
Tolls everywhere.
Well, your navigation
Brisbane's
does
bad too.
It is. Yep, I got pinged in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane for tolls.
Yeah.
But you can obviously tell your car to avoid them. It's just that in Western Australia, we never have to push those buttons, or ferries.
Ferries, yeah.
But no, it's going to be a good trip, Paul. Do you have like a time frame in mind, or you just don't want to mess around? You just want to just get there sooner and.
Yeah, really going over to spend Christmas with family.
Yep.
And then just back again. So we're not pushing it, but we've done the trip many, many times. So we know the road all right, but I've never had to worry about doing it in a EV.
The good thing is in South Australia, this will not help you now, but possibly by the end of next year, there's a possibility of the WA border village, Yalalta, Ceduna, Puchera, Kimber, Whyalla, all these locations being done by the end of next year with fast DC chargers.
Yeah.
So, Christmas next year might be a totally different proposition if you repeat the same journey.
Yeah. I'm quite surprised there's nothing in Port Augusta.
Oh no, there is. Oh no, definitely there is here.
A supercharger?
No. Oh no, there are no superchargers planned that we know of that Tesla has said in South Australia. But Port Augusta will be the RAA's charger, and then you've got once you're at Port Augusta, you can basically go to Clare Supercharger, which is actually there. Clare's just there, but there's a supercharger in Clare anyway. Oh, that's another thing too, is when you're at Port Augusta, just be mindful that you need a fairly high state of charge, because Clare is at about 400 meters altitude.
Oh, I'm not going to Clare. I'll go from Port Augusta down to Port Wakefield.
Gotcha.
And then from Port Wakefield, I cut across to Nuriupta.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. No worries.
There's back roads. I know that road.
Yes.
I know that country. Yeah.
And I'll just check that on PlugShare to see what the nearest charging location is to there, because I'm only familiar with going to
There.
Clare. Well, actually, I had to go to Jamestown. I had a bit of a fraught trip.
Yeah.
I hadn't factored in. I hadn't realised that Clare is at such a high altitude, so it didn't look like I was going to make it. So then I ended up having to limp to
Yeah.
Jamestown. So that's there. You've got so Port Augusta. I'm just not sure the distances.
From Port Augusta to Port Wakefields, I think I should be able to do that in one haul.
Yeah, except there's no charger there.
There should be a Port Wakefield, isn't there? Nothing at Port Wakefield.
There's not a not a Tesla one. There's not a CCS. There's not a Tesla
wow.
destination. There's not a Type 2, and there's no 3-phase.
So there's nothing from Adelaide.
No. So,
what's that
so
one at Port Broughton?
Yeah, but that's off aren't you going inland here?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm over the other side, over here. Where are we?
It's going
Coming
direct
down
south
Highway
to
1.
Adelaide. Yeah.
Anyway, you'll probably win Lotto next week, Paul.
So which way are you going, Paul? Are you going to where'd you say you're going? Not near Berry?
Adelaide.
Down to Mariotta.
Yeah, where's that in this map?
Down at Tanunda, which is in that group. There's a fast charger in the middle of that one there.
Yeah. Is that Barossa?
Yeah, in the Barossa. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so in here. So you probably, if you want to go into here, you're better off going up to Clare. So you go Port Augusta.
I'm going to have to, because
Go up to
normally
Clare
I come down to
and
Port
then-
Wakefield and then head diagonally across.
No, there's nothing there.
No.
So
Yeah.
you're better off going to Clare. Now,
Yeah.
take it from me, it then means you need to leave Port Augusta with a fair whack of charge.
100%.
No, no, not necessarily 100%. I just haven't got the numbers between Clare and Port Augusta. I'll just check. Clare.
190 kilometres.
190. So just make sure you've got 250, a bit less, a bit more, perhaps say 300 Ks.
Yeah.
Or 150. So did you say 150, Pete? 190.
190.
190. So make sure you got, say, about 275 Ks, because the thing that bit me was the fact that Clare has got about, I think it's 400 meters of altitude. So you do lose you lose a few kilowatt hours just gaining that altitude.
Climbing hills.
Climbing hills. But once you're at Clare and you get your first supercharger, then you can smash that out in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're fully charged almost.
Yeah.
So
and you can go and sit in the in the hotel foyer.
Yep, they're very kind. They use their toilet.
Yeah.
Or there's that massage chair. You could sit in that one if you wanted.
Oh,
The
hello.
supercharger's at a hotel, is it?
Hello.
Kind
yeah,
of.
it's a resort or something. It's a
Little massage.
it's a Clare.
Give you a little rub down after your hard drive.
Oh, I'll
It's
look
a
it
Clare,
up anyway.
Clare
yeah.
Valley Motel.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a red light on the outside.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, so Clare Valley Motel, and that's
is that 3 ashtrays, Harold?
I think it might be 4, Jared.
4
I think
ashtrays. Oh,
it's
okay.
just up the hill there.
Oh, yeah, I know
They've
the
got
one. Yeah.
they've got accommodation there, so yeah, it'll be a sight for sore eyes when you see it.
Yeah.
But then it'll also be if you're driving the opposite direction, which you might as well, then it's also quite depressing to see it in the rear view mirror, because then you've got nothing but 2,500 Ks of desolation.
Yeah.
AC charging. Woo!
But it's not as bad as leaving. Well, I was going to say leaving Townsville, knowing you've got nothing but 5,500 Ks of desolation. Although that's no longer the case. So
Yeah, I just see they opened one in Newenden.
Yeah, and they've actually opened more than that. So
And Charters Towers, I think, too.
Charters
Charters
Towers,
Towers, that's it.
and also Richmond. No, not Richmond.
I think it was Hewenden was the one I saw.
Definitely Hewenden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I thought Cloncurry.
Cloncurry, yeah.
Cloncurry, Hewenden and Charters Towers. And if
Yeah.
you go in the other way, you've got Winton and Longreach.
What
Yeah.
sort of
Pretty good.
charges are they?
Oh, they're 50.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they might be 75 kilowatt tritiums.
Oh, yeah, no, that's all right.
They are, yeah, I think they might be faster actually. They might be 150 kilowatt.
No, that's cool.
It will say in the description, and it says,
Oh, it's all right. I can look at it.
yeah, 74 kilowatts. So 75. Not sure. Oh, RFID reader not working. Awesome.
Can't we just get Tesla superchargers and be done with all this shit?
Well,
Seriously.
yeah,
And you're not-
indeed.
We wouldn't have to discuss anything. We just go for a drive. You look at
Which is
Europe
what-
and America and Canada and everywhere else in the world.
Which is what people do on the eastern seaboard, and that's what
Yeah.
I'll be doing in Austria. Is you just
Oh, okay,
navigate,
all right,
and,
okay.
and it just
Yeah.
tells you.
Austria. Drops it in.
Well, I'll go to Prague too, and you just go to the supercharger in Brno, and it's just it'll just work.
natural.
Just
Yeah.
natural.
It's Bruno.
Uneconomic
Don't-
for
Sorry, say again, Pete.
It's not Bruno. There's no U there. It's just Bruno. BRNO.
Oh,
Depends
well,
what bank any you
Bruno.
run, Pete.
Big whiskey.
Bruno.
you sound like a local. You sound like a local, Pete.
Yeah. Pete knows the
So
area.
Prague was good.
I just can't wait to get some nice goulash into me. Oh man.
Oh, jealous.
Anyway.
How about you stay here, Harold, and I'll go for you.
At least you're flying Emirates Airlines, Harold. Well, so
Yeah,
at
I've
least-
already sussed that out. I'm just
At least you're going nice A380.
we're not eating on Sunday. We're going to have nothing but food on the plane.
Oh yeah, please. Good food, great drinks. I
Uh,
came back Qantas Airlines last night, and
Oh, how was that?
Yeah, it was a really good experience. We had 2 Qantas airline hostesses that work for Qantas, and we had 8 hostesses that are contractors, and they were just absolutely amazing. Didn't know you could get ice. Like, can I get a cup of ice? No, that's not available. Yeah, there was just a list of things that were. And then the plane was an hour and a half late because we sat on the tarmac of Sydney due to a thunderstorm and blue lights flashing and everything. It's great. But yeah, the whole
Thunderstorm,
Qantas thing it's absolute garbage at the moment.
So how did you know they were contractors, Jared? Did they have different uniform?
I spoke to the head hostess who loves to introduce herself to me because I'm platinum, and she, they bow down and they salute you. They get a sword out and welcome aboard, Mr. Platinum, and how can we help you? And a little foot massage. While she was rubbing my left toe, she told me that the other 8 girls, and one of them was airsick, and the other one of the other girls, she's never flown before, done an actual service before. But they were wearing exactly the same uniform, but you could tell they were very young. They were like, sort of like that other airline, Virgin. Very young girls, very fresh. Unlike the lady who I've seen about 50 times in my time, who actually would feel very safe if there was a problem. Like, she would know exactly to get the life raft out and stuff like that. Compared to the other girls, I think they'd be, let's look at the manual, let's Google someone. And the only thing that saved me on the whole flight is there was internet pretty much the whole way.
Yep.
Apart from that, the iPad entertainment thing was just garbage. Stopped halfway.
So that was a 737 or 767?
767 300 330.
Yeah, right.
And it was just it's just as a product, it's just I've seen it better, and now I've seen really crap, and then now it's going really, which is sad. But yeah, it's not as good as it used to be.
I was reading where Qantas runs something like 8 different shelf companies that employs their cabin crews, and all of them are on different wage structures. There can be up to 8 different cabin crew employers on the one aircraft, and they're all on different wage structures, and it all depends on what they negotiate with the people. The Dreamliner that flies out of here to London is all crewed by
English crew. Yeah, correct.
And there's 3 different companies in England that they have, shelf companies that crew the Qantas flights that fly between here and London.
Yes, it's real. At the moment, it's not very good. That's for sure. You can tell the difference. But,
and expensive too.
That I spoke to, she's like been with Qantas 36 years. She was on the first Wright brothers flight. She served tea for 1 minute. Yeah, she just said it's really sad because she was working really hard, and the other girls were just sort of trying to do what they were trained to do, and that's it. So, but yeah,
it's worth googling. It's worth googling the cost of an airfare to London at the moment.
Oh,
the cheapest fare you can get on economy is $6,500 on Qantas.
Yeah.
That's return, is it?
Yeah. $1,800 is the normal off at the if you're flying normally, and it's up at the moment at $6,500.
Wow.
So what's business class? 12,000. Business will be right out there out of control.
Yeah,
they're really trying to claw back their money that they lost since the pandemic. That's for sure. And
we looked at flying to Adelaide, and that was going to be $860 one way each.
Yeah.
Oof, geez.
Yeah.
Hence you're driving.
Yeah.
You used to get that for $350 each way or something like that.
Yeah,
300
correct.
return,
Yeah.
350 return on specials when they're on
Oh,
specials.
right. Yes. Yeah.
They're just clawing their money back at the moment. It's pretty upset at the moment.
It was $860 from Perth to Adelaide, and then $420 from Adelaide to Perth.
Yeah, it's
How do they work that out?
Can I ask how much it might cost to charge the EV to drive across to Adelaide? Because when I finally get mine, I'll be planning to drive to Adelaide probably in May. Any idea approximately how much it might actually cost in electricity, roughly?
It sort of depends. Many places are free to use. So, for instance, off the top of my head, Merredin is free, Southern Cross is free, Norseman is free.
Norseman was $35 to the Dundas Shy.
Oh, did they take money? Because I tried and they said we got no way. Oh, okay, well that's cool.
Yes, they'll take money.
Maybe they liked you, Harold.
Yeah, that's it. They've heard of Harold.
Madura, Balladonia. Oh, that's on PlugShare, I think.
Balladonia was $1 a kilowatt hour.
Kilowatt hour, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Madura Pass was $25 donation to RFDS. So a lot of them worked by donation to RFDS, but we worked out that we drove from Perth to Brisbane and spent about $200.
Yeah, but you spent $600 in dim sims, though, Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was a lot more expensive than the accommodation.
Sleep in the car. Are you getting a wire, Mark? Are you getting a wire?
No, I've ordered a 3 on June the 9th. And
you go by yourself or with your partner?
I'll go with my partner.
Oh, that'll be a bit squeezy then.
Yeah, no, well that's why I'm following that conversation about driving over there, because I figure, like we're saying, it's ridiculous cost to fly at the moment. So that, but now I know that I need to allow for maybe 3 nights of accommodation, maybe 4 as well, but it will still be far cheaper than flying.
And it's a great adventure. It's actually a great adventure, and you get like a personal achievement, and it's quite rewarding to have climbed that hill, basically.
And you've got a car at the other end that you can drive.
Yes.
Just don't drive at night. Just don't drive at night.
I never drive at night. I've never ever driven at night.
No, it's too dangerous. Way too dangerous.
Maybe by the time you go, there might be some of those fast chargers anyway, so might be even easier. May?
Oh, not this year. Oh no, not.
That would be nice.
Not by May? You don't think 1 or 2 will be done?
By May, across the Nullarbor, doubt it, because I think it was the minister that said that the Nullarbor ones would be by the end of 2024.
Not our side, I meant the other side, Adelaide. You know, the South Australian side.
They've only just started the project now, or they're sort of a bit like Synergy and Horizon. They're sort of starting it now, and they're talking about it mostly being done by the end of next year. But you know, you don't. What we care about is we're not so much Border Village, but you know, Yalalta and Ceduna, you know, those locations, and they're probably ones that are going to be done at the tail end of the project because they're off grid.
Or Coomera or Poocher in the middle, because it is a long way from Port Augusta to Ceduna without a good charge in the middle.
Exactly.
I figure superchargers probably not really economical for Tesla to do it across the Nullarbor.
They should do it anyway. They've done it across Canada, the Trans-Canada Highway, with even less stuff. And there seems to be more nutters of us wanting to do it. So I think if they do it, they'll definitely get it. I mean, it would be a great promotional thing. Have it in the middle of the Nullarbor, have this friggin' mega pack there or something, and a solar panel canopy and a couple of chargers. Job done.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
A couple of kangaroos getting electrocuted off it.
Yeah, good.
Right. A while hanging off the side of it.
Exactly.
A couple of black belly snakes as you park up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget the dingoes.
Yeah, don't take my baby, mate. Yeah, I had a moron contractor today say, "Oh, other than one of those Teslas that catch fire," I said, "Yeah, they definitely smoke. They'll smoke your car." So, because it was driving a souped-up bloody car, huh?
What happened on Sunday? Did Alex? Did you go on Sunday?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah. I did go.
Man,
so
it was great.
What was the venue change? I didn't see which venue was it going to be, and would it go to?
It was going to be white.
Oh, that's right. That's
White Lakes or something. White Lakes. That's
White Lakes.
White Lakes, and it went King Road Brewery.
Kings Road Brewery, KRB,
and it was good. Alex and Rob did a great job.
Yeah, we had to go there because White Lakes, whatever, weren't prepared to host us. They said they didn't have the capacity to host 20 people.
Really?
Yes.
That's all right.
So 38 people went to King Road Brewery instead.
And we spent a bit of pretty penny. It was good. They were really friendly, actually, because when I went in with the first group, I said, "Oh, I don't think we have a booking there." "Yep, no worries, just find a spot and, off you go. This is the procedure, how to do things." And, we went in and we just claimed a couple of rows of stuff, and it was great. And everyone had a chat and good drink and good
brand
food.
new people that
Alex,
have never
do some
been.
tap dancing?
Yeah.
No joke.
No tap dancing?
No tap dancing from there.
Okay.
Tap dancing around the troop.
And when's our next catch up? Is that in Norway with Alex or with Harold?
Yeah. Well, look, I've got an open invitation. You can meet me on Oslenstrasse in Vienna. I'll bring a Model Y that I'm hiring, so anyone else is welcome to bring their car or whatever.
Taking time and
hang on a sec.
no worries.
I'll just put Harold's credit cards in the chat so everyone can book their flight now.
Oh, cool! Business class all the way.
Actually, Jared, I've got an Erste Bank. I've got an Austrian bank account credit card, so maybe I should put that one up for local transactions.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Harold, I might have driven to Berkeley to go and meet you, but I'm not driving to Vienna. All right.
Oh, Pete, where's your sense of adventure? I'll fly anti-clockwise. I'll fly west. You can fly in the easterly direction, and we can end up in the middle.
We could meet over the ocean.
I'm sure there's a lot of rallies that would want to see you, and a few government officials that might want to send you some infringement notices. Oh dear.
So that means next week you'll be coming from overseas, Harold?
Yes.
Transiting from Norway?
I'll be coming via the interwebs. For me, it'll be quite what do you call it?
Will there be
civilized
subtitles?
hours. It's only at 7:30 in Perth. It's only 12:30 in Vienna. So it'll be quite civilized. So I'll be able to rock all afternoon while you guys just pike it. Once you get to midnight, you'll be getting all tired and stuff. But it's currently, the weather there is a balmy, next Wednesday is
-5.
expected to be -6 overnight. Actually, sorry, Wednesday evening, so that's Thursday morning, it'll be -7.
With a
So,
wind chill of 25 minus there on. Were
Yeah.
you using subtitles, Harold, or?
And what do we got?
Sorry, what subtitles?
32.
Yeah,
Well,
I figured we'd be doing it in the local lingo, so we'll be doing it all in German. So
Great.
we'll be talking about autobahns and other things,
Schnitzenhausen. And,
something like
will there be
that.
will there be a safe word, Harold? To
Sorry?
watch you? Will there be a safe word? Now, some of those
safe
German establishments need a safe word when you go in there. You can't just wander in without a safe word.
It will be good. I'll make sure I've got an internet dongle and whatever, so we'll see how it works across the fibre optic cable.
Some sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut. Bavarian sauerkraut with caraway. Oh, yum.
Oh, yum.
Oh, man. And the fact that you can walk down the street, go to a hot dog stand and buy a beer and drink it on the street, because we're all grown up over there.
They do that in Mandurah, though. Alex is
They do.
They do
In the car park.
Just around the
Yeah,
corner.
car park.
Around the corner,
They
stuck
call
in
it-
the alleyway.
Yeah, it's the same. It's nothing really different.
Actually, I must admit, I went to Rockingham to get a couple of a couple of air conditioners, and there was a local there that was trying to buy something, and the guy needed he wanted to get a, what do they call it? Pay now, buy now, pay later, or whatever, and he wanted to put it on credit, and he said, "Oh, I just need your driver's license." So he handed over his driver's license, and he goes, "Oh, that one's been suspended. Do you have like another copy?" "Oh, we've got to go to the cop shop to get it unsuspended and stuff." And I thought, oh man, but and that's not even Mandurah.
It's just getting close to Mandurah.
It's getting close.
Rockingham is noted for its bogan population.
Actually, it's actually
More than
noted-
Mandurah.
Yeah.
It's the single
Remember
mother's
the United-
capital of Australia. It's
And that's
Alex
why I
Bird
live in
and
Safety
Friday.
Bay, not Rockingham. Okay, just saying.
Safety Bay. Okay.
No,
Safety
Steve's
Bay is
okay.
much
He's
different.
in the posh end.
Ooh, la di da.
Safety Bay is
Alrighty.
a beautiful spot.
Absolutely. Now, sorry, Joe, did you say single mothers? That just reminds me of something.
Single mother's capital.
Capital of
I mean, Alex goes.
This,
Alex says he goes down there on Friday night. He says like shooting fish in a barrel, picking up women. He says unbelievable. He says he gets his little hair flicked down the front there, and off he goes with his Tesla, and he's got the baby.
well, when you do that, you might get some children's clothing, and it's really cool that, you know how you have the washing instructions, little what do you call
little
it, tag
tags.
that's got the washing
okay.
instructions.
Oh,
I
yeah.
came across this tag, which I thought was pretty interesting. So wash inside out, remove child before washing. Made in China.
Only if the child's made in China.
Very important. Remove child before putting clothes in the washing machine.
Yeah, that's good. The
They
problem
should
is most people that live in Rockingham can't read, Harold, so they have to get someone to read it for them. So
They need to remove all danger labels and stuff. We need to start thinning the herd. Man. Jesus.
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
you know, I'm sure some Philadelphia lawyer recommended that be put on just in case.
Oh yeah.
Just like you go to
Yeah.
McDonald's and it says on the cup of coffee, caution, contents may be hot. I
Yeah.
certainly hope so. Or packet of peanuts which say warning, this product may contain
nuts."
traces of may contain traces of nuts. I hope it's more than a trace.
Yeah. Next time you buy smoked salmon, have a look at the label. It says it contains fish.
Really? Fish with the smoked salmon?
What about crab sticks? Because it probably
No,
does
no.
not contain crab.
Guaranteed
Ray
to
or
contain no natural products.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
There you go.
Alrighty.
There you go. Some people need those warnings.
What the heck is that?
What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
Is he
My
cutting
microphone
it?
mute. Yep.
Yep.
What's this? Who's this?
That was in Perth. That was in Bassendean.
So what are they doing?
Cutting.
Was he,
the-
cut- he was cutting a line.
she's cutting the cable cord.
Why?
What?
Because he could.
Yeah.
Cutting the cable.
That was there.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Where was
Yeah,
that?
I saw that. Oh, that was from the Slack thing because they
Yeah.
caught her.
But
So she's cutting the charge cable,
with some scissors.
Live
Yeah.
cable.
and
Yeah.
and that sparks from the cable. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
That's
I think there's a
unbelievable.
video there.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So does the video actually show this cutting of the sparks
Yeah.
of the
right
cable?
here.
Gonna say what
No,
a meth
maybe-
head or
Maybe not that
something.
one.
Have you got the one in the rear view? Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Mm.
no,
he
that,
showed
you had it
that
just
to
then,
the
didn't you?
cops, when he
Sure,
showed
there's
that
a
to the
camera.
cops, they
You get
said,
Oh, no.
that?
Yeah.
yeah, they said,
Yeah,
oh yeah, we
she's
know
arrested.
her, and went and arrested her.
Yeah.
That's one of Alex's ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, is that that one?
She's-
No, anyway, that's still out of the video. Oh, there it is there.
Wow.
The car
Play
had
that.
PPF. It'll just buff out, no worries.
It didn't play. No, can you? Yeah, there we go.
No PPF on that one.
No. No
Wouldn't
PPF.
matter, eh? Jeez.
Oh, is she going to do it? Oh, she's getting there.
Yep, it's getting there.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because they arrested her the next day.
That's
Oh, this
a
is going to
deep
be
charge.
good.
She gets zapped.
Oh, she would have definitely got zapped.
Oh,
Oh.
Bitten.
Oh, what a dickhead.
wow.
And then she's wrecked a couple of $100 cable as well.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
Fuck.
all because Alex wouldn't go out with her.
I think the couple didn't the couple that only picked the car up on the Tuesday, and that was a Thursday, 3 days
Yeah.
after getting the car.
Oh God, and that's going to take ages to get that fixed too, because you got to strip the paint off, or you got to.
Mm.
Wow.
Is it Bassendean, was it?
Yeah, pretty sure it's Bassendean.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll get the charge point up. It's
Bassendean's a great area to go straight
That's
through.
just low.
Yeah.
type 2. It's
So how did they identify her? Because you couldn't even make out if that was a female.
Oh,
She
there was
kno-
more.
known to the
more.
police apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
you mean
That
the
was
basement?
a
There was
third-degree burn.
there was other photos and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, from the actual Sentry cam, and you got a shot of her face. It was on the Slack group.
Yeah.
right.
That showed. So
Did they
It's
want
the
her to become a
Bassendean
member?
Child
Paul?
Health Centre.
Hey, Paul?
Mhm.
Did the Slack group wanted to become a member? So they could, see if she could join up and
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's right. It's just the one right here.
Yeah.
In Bassendean. So I guess the answer there is don't do it at night time
Oh, fuck.
unless you're with your car.
Yeah, don't go to Bassendean.
Just go on
That's terrible.
superchargers.
That's so terrible.
I know.
It was actually Jared's hair that reminded me of that.
No. Nothing like that.
It was Jared in deep disguise.
I went for a,
Deep
I
fake.
went for a
Deep
job
fake
interview
video.
as Doc from where's the flux capacitor?
Yep.
And stay in character. Hey Marty, that one, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the future. You boys would know that. You're all old boys. Yeah. Hey, is Richard Chapman back yet? Is he back in the
Still
country?
Yes, he is.
Did we let him back in? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
I'm back.
I
Sorry,
can't
I'm just
believe they
tidying
let
the
him in.
house.
I told Customs not to let him in, carrying a whole lot of drugs and make sure he gets a good search when he comes back.
Oh,
So-
it was a good search, though. It was worth it.
I hope they bent you over and made sure everything was clean and checked.
I actually flipped all the way around. It was great.
Full 360.
Full.
Hey, how was the flight on the way back? Honest.
Oh, it was all right. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, for a 17-hour flight each way with a 2.5-year-old, not bad.
It's not bad.
I'm sure your fellow passengers enjoyed it.
A few, you know that thing of like no one talks to you on a long flight until like the last 5 minutes when you're about to get off because no one wants to really strike up a conversation until with them because you know you might take it on for hours, which I would. Yeah, but that we had a few comments saying, "Well, he was better than we expected."
So that means it wasn't good. It was just better than they'd actually expected really bad.
Now, Richard, on the other
Great.
hand, was a disappointment.
Oh, I was awful. I was chucking things everywhere, throwing peanuts at people.
Were they full
Yeah,
flights?
exactly. You were worse. Huh?
Were they full flights?
Yeah. Oh, it was only I think there was only a couple of seats I spotted empty on the way back. But yeah, every time we've taken that Dreamliner to London and back, it's always been chockers. So it was good. Yeah. Oh, man, flying direct. Do it, guys. It's just incredible. Enjoy minus. Did you say -6, Harold?
Yeah, -6 or 7.
Oh,
No, -7
brutal.
on Wednesday night. Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah. The mulled wine will help you deal with that.
Oh
though.
yes, the Glühwein. Yes, that's right. Yes, my wife is looking forward to Glühwein.
Oh, it's so good.
Which yeah, it's awesome.
We-
But
we-
not that cheap
we left
Nestle stuff. Have you seen that, Richard?
No.
Where some places, if you go to a cheap joint, they actually just get red wine and then they mix like Nestle mulled wine powder, like instant coffee. They mix that in, and they've got like a kettle jug where they just boil it in that. It's like
To be
pretty
honest,
rough.
I could have had that served up to me. I was drunk most of the time. So
Yeah. I mean,
you know what Europe's like.
in general,
It is,
population,
yeah.
This is what you get. Well, Harold will be like, "Excuse me, Mr. Murphy. Tonight we'll have chicken, or we'll have the lamb, or we'll have this." Your choice is.
Oh, Jared, I've seen the videos. What Non-Stop Dan? I think his
I've done
name. Oh, geez.
And the bar at the back, Harold, is great.
Yeah, I looked at the bar at the back and I thought,
Yeah.
Jared's been at this bar.
I've been at that bar many times. And some of the colleagues I've been with spend the whole time in the bars. Like, sit down at takeoff, go to the bar, sit down, landing. That's it. 12 hours at the bar. Like,
Wow.
because
What
they have no responsible service alcohol in business class up there. It's like plastered as much as you want. They're great. It's really, really nice up there.
Yeah, but no Coronas. No Coronas, Jared. There's only Heineken.
Oh, yeah. Only Heineken.
Lef or Lof? No, there's Lof, Heineken, Tiger, and Stella Artois.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, it'll be all right. But so, Richard, you see any Teslas over in the old Dart?
Do you know, I did, but actually, I reckon I saw more non-Teslas than I did Teslas. And we probably did 1,000 miles worth of driving around rural England. So, yeah.
So what was the most
actually
common non-Tesla? Was it like Polestar or e-Golf?
BMW.
Lots of
Oh.
ID3s, and I can't remember if it's the ID3 or ID4.
Yep.
So
I
many of them,
saw
but-
when I was there ID3s and
Yeah.
Hyundai Ioniqs 5.
Oh yeah, I don't remember seeing any Ioniq. Interestingly, in London, there were so many like premium non-Teslas, so Mercedes, Audis, which is where you'd expect to see them. But I was actually surprised by how relatively few Teslas I saw. Whereas here, of course, it's 95% of all the EVs on the road are Teslas.
Yeah.
Whereas there's much more of a mix, and I actually found that to be quite encouraging. But yeah, definitely the biggest manufacturer number that I saw were Teslas. But yeah, I'd say I probably saw an aggregate of more non-Teslas than I did Teslas. So
yep.
So no, that was pretty cool.
Richard, in Europe, Tesla's got the lowest market share of EVs of any
Is that right?
market.
You're right.
Yeah, but that's all about to change, obviously, with Berlin. So if you I'd say if you go back in 2 years' time, you'll probably find.
Well, Yeah, don't forget that this time we were only in the UK, so we weren't in. I think in continental Europe it would have been more, and I know that the UK is a huge market for Tesla. So, yeah, right. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, okay.
Is Model 3 the bottom number, Pete? Is that the bottom bar? Yeah, it is. Or was that the Outlander?
Oh, yeah.
Fev?
So quite
that's the
five paces.
That's the Fev. That's Model 3 there. Yeah, gotcha. No, that's Nissan Leaf. So where's the 3 then, Pete? Is that fire up?
This is not my chart. Someone else has put it up.
Oh, sorry, that must be James.
Yeah.
So what,
that would probably explain why I saw a lot of I-Paces.
So Richard, did you have bangers and mash anywhere?
I had bangers and mash all the time. It was glorious,
Oh.
and lots of Guinness.
Very good, James.
Which
That's good.
I love Guinness, but I don't drink it in Australia because it doesn't travel very well. No, but when you actually have it, all UK Guinness comes from Dublin, so it's the good stuff. And when you get a really good Guinness, it's like coffee almost. It's like a combination of coffee and a good cigarette.
Yeah, I think that just about says everything we need to know about Guinness.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the origin of Guinness? Some guy burnt his barley and he went, stuff it, I'm going to use it anyway because no one will know because I'll be pissed.
Sure. Sounds a great story for a tourist.
It does too. Sure does.
Oh, there is a whole thing in the Guinness factory in Dublin, about it. So, which I highly recommend doing if you ever get a chance. And then you can really decide whether it's whether you really don't like it or not.
True.
Are you back at work now, Richard?
What's that? Sorry.
Are you back at work?
I am, unfortunately. Yeah, it was like the flight was a few hours late as well, so we literally came home, went to bed, got up, went to work.
Wow.
Not even a day.
Did they miss me only with the rifle?
No, did Gina miss you?
Oh, of course she did. Yeah. She's like, where is he? I can't do anything without him. Although I have noticed that while I was away, the iron ore price went up.
Well, she went over with Donald Trump. She went over and had lunch with Donald Trump.
Well, annoyingly, I did miss the work, the all company work Christmas party. So I was not where Gina was. So I was very unhappy about that.
Was it an eventual?
Can't remember now.
Well.
No, it was a pretty fancy event.
You were having toddies in the old dart, so you're all right.
Do you know, I was, and you know, every week I intended to dial into this, but of course, you know, thinking, 11:30 in the morning, that'd be a great time to like do it. I thought I'd get my mum or I get my father-in-law, and every single time, of course, you're actually out doing stuff because you're on holiday.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's the middle of the day, and why wouldn't you be?
Yes.
So yeah.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So
I was going to say. So speaking of the parts away from us, this is Giga Berlin, and their stack of gasifiers has grown. So now they've got 9, and they're clearly going to have 12.
Yeah.
So and in the background there, you can actually see
footage from like Russia or something.
Sorry.
It's very COVID style of footage.
Well, when you say gasifiers, Harold, what does that mean? What do they do?
LPG.
Oh, so that little tank there, that's just like a little tiny one. That's by a company called Molgas, and they will have probably tankers. I don't know whether they'll just have trucks, like a tanker truck of LNG, just parked alongside, and they'll just keep rotating through them. But the idea of this is to convert liquid natural gas into just gaseous natural gas. Basically, my theory, and it's been this all along, is that Tesla are going to make themselves independent of the national gas supply, basically, because Germany's at the second stage of 3 emergency levels. The third level is whereby if that's invoked, and it may be invoked during winter, which is basically here, nearly, it is here, is that industry will have to abate their consumption in favour of maintaining the supply to essential services such as hospitals and also for domestic customers, retail houses. So I think Tesla, they're building this setup basically, and these are large units, these are large gasifiers, and all they are is like a big heat sink, and they just got I think there might be a close up of it. So you've got a whole lot of tubes that go through, and these are just like thin aluminium fins, heat rejecting.
Reminds me of inside steam engines.
Yeah, it's like a boiler. That's right. Yeah, exactly. And basically, they'll gasify, and it's all passive. So you can have fans underneath pushing air, but they're just using it passively. And even though it's minus probably 5, there's still enough heat rejection to the air to basically gasify the liquid natural gas and use it. So actually, I'll just go back.
I'm still baffled though.
So 2 seconds, 2 seconds. That tank there, that says MOL. It's actually a company called Molgas. They're a Spanish company, and they are experts in. They've got something like 100 trucks, tanker trucks, moving around LNG around Europe. So I think Tesla will then be directly importing or sourcing their own LNG for Giga Berlin, and just in the background as well, you can actually see where all of their castings. So just here, that's like row upon row upon row of Giga castings.
Wow.
All along there, and there might be. I think there's actually. Here we go. There's actually footage, and if I recall correctly, there's one where you see the guy actually loading them. But yeah, that's just some of the storage. That's not all of it. That's just one location that they're using for the Giga castings, which they're clearly making as fast as they possibly can while they've still got gas, just in case they have to reduce production.
I still just don't understand why they would have tied themselves to gas and why they wouldn't have just put up wind turbines, solar panels, battery storage. Seems very strange.
Gas is probably the simplest to put into that furnace to melt down the aluminium ingots to feed the gigacasting machine, because it's very intense heat. And it was probably the cheapest form of fuel or heat at the time, but of course now times have changed. But
I'm just surprised, just because like I remember doing the tour of the Gigafactory in Nevada, that there were. I'm sure this is public knowledge. It's like, there were engineers that were saying, "Oh, look, we could get a bit more efficiency if we use gas," and Elon was like, "No, we're not using gas at all. It's only going to be electricity." And so it just surprises me that they would have tied themselves to any fossil fuel at any point, just out of ethos, I guess.
Yeah, but nothing at the Gigafactory was made of die cast. Well, maybe small stuff, but if you've got huge pieces that weigh several hundred kilos. Probably just to get the heat into those furnaces, it's probably just simpler and cheaper with gas at that stage.
It's like if you're going to find holes to pick in Tesla, if you're a hater, that's one of them.
Yes. Yep. But I guess you could think about the total process. You've got ingots, you've got raw ingots of, well, not raw, but ingots of aluminium, and you turn it into big casting elements rather than multiple sheets of mild steel and other materials that have to be spot welded, formed, glued, passivated, painted, all sorts of other treatments.
Yep.
Where so perhaps to the whole environment, aluminium. Well, as you know, aluminium is solid electricity anyway, because you need an absolute ton of electricity to turn bauxite or alumina into aluminium, but then again, aluminium's 100% recyclable. Well, I guess so is steel too, but yeah,
because they said they were using recycled aluminium as well.
Yes, you drink more cans of beer, drink more beer cans.
Like from the stamping presses and stuff, they were sort of like grabbing all the scrap and throwing all that in there, and they were grabbing the alloy, broken wheels and stuff and chucking it in it as well. So I was like, great, good on them.
Yeah,
I think they said that on one of the calls, financial calls. because they were taking the piss because said they were using competitors' wheels. They were trying to get as much recycled stuff and just chucked it all in the big melting pot. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was like, good on them.
Well, I think Tesla's also developed their own alloy, which doesn't need heat treatment, which is the key to getting the accuracy. So those gig castings, they don't actually have to do any finishing to them. They don't have to do any final CNC fiducials or anything like that. When they come out, they're sub millimeter perfect.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
Kick ass, man.
Is that casting the actual chassis? Is it?
Yeah,
it's the front. It's the front. It's the front and rear elements. So I'll just grab from last week's news. At Battery Day, they were actually showing that they're doing a structural battery pack and also a front and rear casting, which if you look at your Model 3s and even the Shanghai built Ys, the front and rear parts, like where your wheel arches are, they're all a multitude of stampings and spot welds and glue, and you've got literally a couple of hundred bits that every time you stack them together and join them, you've got tolerances, mating tolerances between each part, and all of those tolerances add up. And if you're lucky, they'll average out to nothing, but if you're unlucky, they could add up adversely and be well out. I'm just going to try and get the image, but my computer's going a bit slow at the moment because it's doing too many things at once. But yeah, so that's the front and rear castings, which the Berlin Model 3s, Model Ys, and also I think it's only the Austin Model Ys are front and rear. I think the Berlin ones might just be rear. I think. I'm not entirely certain. When the version that has the structural battery pack, they will definitely be front and rear castings, and it's just so much more efficient. And Elon Musk has kind of said out aloud that his ultimate goal would be to cast the entire car body as one piece, but that would require a stupendously large gigacasting machine. I mean, the Cybertruck one's already 9,000 ton capacity, which is world record beating. You know, no one's ever built one that big, except for IDRA. So, but yeah, so that's just a lot more efficient way of building a car.
What's the backstory on that, Harold? Didn't Tesla approach about 3 or 4 of the biggest casting manufacturers? 5, was it, Paul?
Yeah.
And they all said no.
Yeah.
They all said no, and Idris said, maybe. So they were the only ones that didn't say no, and they got the job.
And they're building another one, aren't they?
Didn't they say that all the others laughed at them, Pete, or something like that? They virtually laughed at them as they said no.
Same as when he went to Russia to try and buy ICBMs.
Look at SpaceX now. Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Hang on. Sorry, hang on, Jared. Just 2 seconds. Yeah. I'll see you, Jared. Oh, yeah. See you, mate. Take care, mate.
I've got to go. Have a great flight, Harold.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Jared. I'll see you next week on the line.
Mr. Murphy in 1A. Sorry.
It's not 1A.
No, that's why it's not first. It's C.
It's not first, mate. It's not first.
Yeah, it's not general population downstairs though. It's a different oxygen.
It's the first time I've ever done business, and it's quite confronting because it's a lot of money. Although I feel better now that I think it was Paul that said that. What was it? Flight to London, $6,000 return. So I feel a bit better, but because I did buy this ticket quite a while ago when it was a lot cheaper.
You were lucky.
Then it probably is now.
we got returned to London direct for all 3 of us for 7.5.
In general population.
Not bad.
But James is free, isn't he? Wouldn't James be free?
No,
Richard.
No, he's not because he's over 2. It's a few $100 less, but it's definitely we definitely had to pay for him.
Yeah, right. Big bucks. All right,
So,
cool. Take care, Jared. I'll see you next week, mate.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to head off now. Also, I'll see you on Sunday, Harold. We're
Yes,
about to
no
get a
worries, Paul.
storm here. Storm's going to hit us any
See
minute.
you all. I'm just stalking,
See you,
by
Paul.
the way.
All right, cheers. See you, Paul. Take care, mate.
Thank
Yeah, hey,
you.
Damo.
Bye now.
Sorry, Pete, so you were saying, if you can remember,
I was just saying if Idra would have said no, if they couldn't do it, I reckon Tesla would have done it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
yeah, that's probably true. But isn't it funny, because Tesla really struggled when they were building the Model. Well, the Roadster was just a complete cluster, but when they were building the Model S, they had to go to second tier suppliers because the tier one suppliers just weren't interested in a company they knew was going to go broke.
Or they were happy to supply, but only if they had. So they had the lowest priority that there was. So they were happy to supply them if they had a surplus stock, let's say.
Yeah,
that's right. So
or surplus capacity. Yeah.
Times change.
So those suppliers that missed out are quite regretting it, and indeed clamoring over themselves to supply Tesla. But there's no tier one seat suppliers because Tesla makes their own, and they're the only ones the only car manufacturers in the whole world that make their own seats.
Very comfy.
And
they sure are.
They'd be one of few manufacturers that have their own software, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Probably the only. I mean, VW's trying to make their own software, and look what it's done to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they do all their software, like even just their normal stuff. Their internet stuff and things. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Nothing's third party. Everything's IP. So.
Yeah.
I mean, how good's our app? I mean, now we can look at the release notes on your app before you actually get it going. I was like, oh, finally.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you can lend your car to someone and just send them a driver link, and they just accept it, and they can have the driver profiles move across, and that seems to have settled down now. And the great thing is, if you hire a car, I hired one in Brisbane a couple of months ago, and all of your navigation stuff comes onto the car.
Yep.
And then when you use the car and you navigate around and do whatever, that stays with your account. So when you hop in your other car in Perth, I can actually see where I've been in the Gold Coast and all that sort of stuff. And the good thing is, when you remove yourself from that car that you've hired or borrowed, it removes all that information as well automatically.
Oh. Cool.
So you don't have to sit there and delete all the destinations and stuff like that. It just automatically gets wiped. So it's pretty cool.
2 thumbs up.
I don't know how it's going to go when you go from a right-hand drive car to a left-hand drive car. The seat position would be really interesting if it does follow the driver's seat, or whether it does the right-hand seat. But
well, you'll find out.
You'll find out.
Find out soon enough. I'll let you know next week. That's right.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'll be reporting live from Europe.
Half pissed.
No, it's only lunchtime. No, it won't be. No.
That's why I said half.
The thing is, you don't. I don't know. You're all grown up. You sort of just drink slowly throughout the day, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Oh, my problem in Europe is eating too much. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh yes. The Klar Rindssuppe and the goulash and the Zwiebel Rostbraten, and oh man, there's just so much to eat.
And you're making me hungry.
Never mind. It's all good. But you guys can have some kangaroo and stuff and other things. It's all right. You can have a nice warm Christmas,
Yeah, that's all right.
45 degrees, while where I am it'll be 45 Fahrenheit.
Or minus.
or minus. That's all good. Anyone else got any other comments on news or anything? Anything that
Okay,
might have missed
let's
out?
talk about wheels. From all the experts, how much of a difference does a different style of wheels make to the range, your efficiency?
You talk about with arrows or just straight?
Yes, yeah, or the whole range of, be they wheel caps or the wheelets or cast as that sort of wheel. Because I was talking with Harry today, and he said something like 10% difference between the aero wheels and others, and I went, oh, gee, that
4%.
That's a little bit.
4% on my car.
Yeah, I've always applied a rule of thumb of sort of between about 15 and about 35 kilometres. So on a on the range of your battery. So I mean, obviously that depends on the car, but that's based on a standard range. Plus on about 400 kilometres, so between 15 and 35. What's that? So the average there is
10%. That's
Tesla
nearly
claims
10%.
Tesla claims 7% with arrows on as opposed to arrows off. So it's 7%, which is about 15 k's on a. But that arrow only really takes effect over 70 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And
Like
then
I
if there's
found
any
with mine.
side wind.
Yeah, I found with my performance, it's 4%.
Yeah.
So real world. But then 5k.
That's average, isn't that average, Paul? Though, so that's average. Whether you're doing 110 rarely or 100 more often and slower.
You get one grain truck.
I drive a performance. Of course, I do 100.
but it depends.
Plus GST. So
it obviously depends on whether you're driving country, whether you're on the highway or whether in the city, because in the city you're obviously going at a slower average speed where aerodynamics don't play that much of a role.
And if you're going north, there's more of the wind that factor as well. Like you get like going to Jurien and stuff, you get the side winds. That seems to be just as bad as a headwind. So I found. So drop 5k's, drop 10k's, navigate to wherever you're going to go. The car will let you know, sort of stuff. So I found that's the best sort of help.
So, Paul, were you looking? Sorry, not Paul. Steve. So, Steve, were you looking at changing rims, perhaps, or looking at or taking off? You've got a 3, haven't you? So you've got aero covers on yours.
You got the caps?
No, it's a long range. It just I haven't put aero covers or anything on it. We were talking somewhat theoretically about the Model Y performance.
Awesome.
Oh, you mean, sorry, when you say theoretically, you mean because you've ordered one, or you may order one?
I may have ordered one today.
Oh, you may have. I put it to you that you probably did.
Well, that's what the order docket says and the terms of agreement that I've received, and that's what my app is now telling me.
So, well, very importantly, when is your delivery time frame, say?
It comes up and says second quarter.
Oh, okay.
So I've done the pre-delivery task already, and I was expecting not to be hassled with that for a while. So full details. What's your registration going to be like? Yep.
So you mean to say they asked you for your rego address and your name details?
Yes.
Interesting.
You might get it earlier.
Yeah.
You might get it before Harold. Holy crap.
Oh no, that couldn't happen. I mean,
it could, because I won't be here until the end of the first week of January. But we're not going to get cars in January, because otherwise we'd have VINs allocated already.
Yes, definitely no VIN or anything. No, I went for the Midnight Silver.
Oh, very nice. I actually wish I picked that color, but I've just gone Poverty Pearl White, and I'm not going to change it because I don't want to change my position.
What color seats, Steve?
I kept it. Just let it be black. I was happy with that. I've got black in the Model 3, and I'm happy with those. So.
Oh, that is going to be so great, man.
Yes. And as soon as we can, we'll get a towing pack and actually ruin a few weekends.
Good luck with that.
No.
I mean, getting a towing pack, from Tesla, that is.
Well, again, talking with Harry, he's hoping early next year.
Harry
He didn't say
hopes.
2 weeks exactly, but he probably meant 2 weeks.
Hopefully. I've got a trailer full of stuff that I want towed.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sick of asking mates to borrow their car or something just so they can tow my trailer, because that's a bit of a pain.
Just on ordering, guys, if I may, as I've alluded to a few times, I ordered my Model 3 on June 9, and it's shown 9 to 12 months from order date up until today, where there's no date at all on there. Is that a significant step, or does that mean nothing, or is it no?
Have you looked for a VIN? Have you seen if you've got a VIN allocated?
I haven't seen any notification of that, no.
Okay, so what I'll do is, because I'm just actually looking at myself to see if I've got a VIN on my Y, and that would be, no, I don't. No, I don't. Okay, so I'll just put it in the chat, copy and then paste. So what you need to do is first log into your Tesla account. So just open up your browser thingy and just make sure you're logged into your account. Open up another browser or just tap on that link, and then that will basically bring up your details. And if you've only, do you have a Tesla yet, Mark? No, this is your first one.
I'm still waiting for it.
Yeah, cool. So it'll be easy to read because it'll just be one entry. And you'll see early on, it'll say model will be M. So you're getting it in Model 3, so it'll be M3, I guess. And it'll have a reservation number, but where the VIN is, there'll either be one, which means it's been allocated, which means it's going to be built, or it has been built, or it might just have double inverted commas and not have a VIN. So
if you actually go to the order page, whether it be a rear-wheel drive, a long range, or a performance Model 3, they all say estimated delivery February to May 23.
Yeah, and that's why I went to the Tesla place on Scarborough Beach Road yesterday, to just ask them if they could help me out and understand what was happening. Fortunately, they had a performance there that they said I could go for a spin in, which I did. Mind you, I ordered a performance without actually driving one previously.
Oh, good.
And, as much as I tried to say I wasn't all that impressive when I got back, I couldn't get the smile off my face.
So you couldn't, you just don't have the poker face. You just couldn't suppress.
There was just no way. I just could not do it. Could not do it.
So you're not regretting your purchase whatsoever?
No, absolutely not.
You'll love it. Oh, mine's three and a half and a bit years old. I love it every time we put foot down.
So have you got the VIN there, Mark? Have you logged?
I must admit. But after
Have you
that,
logged?
I got used to it fairly quickly.
Have you logged in yet, Mark, to see? Have a look. Oh, see you, Nigel. Mr. Grumpy Man.
No,
Sweet dreams. We'll see you at the other side next week. Oh, before you go, because you'll be on Ask Us Anything, because you're flying out after next Wednesday, aren't you?
I'm flying out at 4 a.m. on Thursday, so I'm camping up near
early.
the airport on Wednesday. So I'll get my laptop out and
awesome
log in. Hopefully,
Fantastic.
if I remember.
No worries, and if not, safe travels in any case.
Yeah, and wherever I am in 2 weeks, will there be one?
Yes, we'll be having Ask Us Anythings all the way through every Wednesday. So there'll be one on the 14th, on the 21st or whatever, and 28th, and
yeah, I'm not sure because I'll be cruising up the coast of Norway to the Arctic Circle sometime. So that's for 2 weeks. So
you should have had
it'll be any good.
Your Starlink dish. You should have brought your Starlink dish with you and put it on the top of the boat.
Look, I've got Wi-Fi on the boat. That's free, but how good it is, I don't know.
Yeah,
I will
exactly.
find out.
That's cool. Awesome. Safe
All right,
travels.
see you guys.
See you next
Say
week.
good day to
week,
Bjorn.
hopefully.
Can we segue to Starlink then, Harold?
Oh, I better
Yes.
go to bed myself. No,
All
guys.
right, see you, Paul.
Catch
Sorry,
you next
what's?
week.
Oh, yes.
And have a good trip, Harold.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Oh, someone's doing a good trailer job.
It's quite hard.
He's having a
because
try.
you
It's a trying trailer.
Yeah, it's quite hard because you can't turn on trailer mode, so it gets a bit awkward with all the warnings and everything going off.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's a Model Y. So you've had your hitch done.
Yes.
Well done. Stealthily. Okay, go, Paul. You were saying Starlink. In fact, I already had the Starlink website
Steve
up.
was.
James, did
sorry.
you get the
Steve, I mean.
Need more Steves. There's too many Pauls.
Yes. It's appalling.
Starlink RV. You were talking a while ago about maybe trying to get hold of that to
Yes,
lend
have.
out, to hire out
Yes.
to.
Yep. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's busy being a emergency spare for one that is not an RV unit that's broken.
Mm.
It's
And there's
all right.
not enough.
I've got one that people can borrow. Don't forget.
Oh, okay. Yes. So, Steve, you can if you talk to Pete nicely.
There's more thinking about into the future about is RV out and etc. Because
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. So, one of the Starlink dishes has already been rented out to a company that did a BMX thing or something down one of the forests down south. And that was successfully used. That was a rectangular Starlink dish, which I bought an Ethernet adapter for as well, because that's a separate item in the new versions. And yeah, that was working very successfully.
Good.
So, but we haven't quite worked out. We've worked out a price for, so like if it's a business type thing arrangement, which is $165 for a week. But for club, what do you call it? Residential, retail,
Club
for
members,
normal
private
owners,
use.
not private use members. We haven't really worked it out. But it might be at a minimum starting point, something like the pro rata monthly fee. So, it's $174 a month, I think. So if you went, I don't know, it's sort of always fraught if you try and spitball this, out loud, but maybe if it was like 50% above the pro rata rate is probably reasonable, or maybe a little bit more than that, just to cover costs, bearing in mind that, for us club committee members who've got these dishes, it's a sunk cost for us, or an ongoing cost as well.
Tesla won't let you, SpaceX won't let you pay for it on a prorated basis. So if someone takes it out for 2 days, the owner still has to pay the $174 for the month. There's no sort of going back.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of, I mean, at the moment mine's not available because, like I said, it's basically becoming an emergency substitute for a fixed Starlink that the round dishes just stopped working. It stopped dead.
We're having a hypothetical driving the freeway, saying, okay, so we're organising a towing vehicle, and we're looking at as we talked on Sunday with you, looking at getting as hopefully as aerodynamic a camper trailer as possible to tow behind Model Y. It's like, okay, so are we going to hotspot to stream, or maybe Starlink might be a solution to that problem?
Well, absolutely, and the great thing about Starlink is that you've got it officially all over Australia.
Okay, I thought it was first quarter of next year that was going to be finished, but I can see it's looking good. Yes.
No, they're well ahead. they are absolutely well ahead, bearing in mind that they've got no further base stations that they've installed.
Hmm.
And I've heard that Wagen, which is sort of down here, is going to be decommissioned because it's too noisy, because there's a house next door to it.
Okay.
But there's nothing in the Pilbara at this stage, or nothing up in the. I think there's some in the middle of Queensland, or sorry, the coastal, whatever you want to call that. Mackay sort of area, but there's nothing else around, so it's working remarkably well. But total coverage, just except for the Murchison square kilometre array area and
I was
parks.
assuming it's the SKA.
That's the SKA, and then this one's parks, I think.
Yeah, the
and
dish.
that would be the other one. Is that Narrabri? Yeah, there must be a deep space network thingy there.
Yeah, there is
as
one
well.
there.
Yep. So they've just quietened those ones down. But yeah, Steve, definitely our intention is to have these as items to borrow, but it's just a matter of working out the price. Especially if some of these RV things, as Pete said, what Starlink allow you to do is cancel it. Well, you suspend it, but Pete, the anniversary date's the first of the month, isn't it? I think it's always the first of the month. So
Yeah.
it's a bit like,
but what I found is when I lent it to Kiva, is it straddled the anniversary date, so still had to pay for 2 months. So it was $134 times 2. So yeah,
which becomes big bucks.
Yeah, it can pretty quickly.
And it's like premium connectivity. When you cancel it, you don't get like a refund on that part of the month. It still works until the anniversary date, then it cancels. But then if you renew it 3 weeks later, you probably have to pay the whole 175, even though it's the last week, sort of thing.
Sort of thing. So how do you provide coverage to your CCTV at your cameras around your house and things like that if you take Starlink away with you? Do you use Starlink as your broadband?
Oh, no. So at the moment, I'm on NBN fiber to the house. I was on Starlink a few months ago, but a couple of times, and Starlink's probably better now than it was before, but a couple of times I'd find that it would glitch out just for a few seconds. And in those few seconds, Zoom would then glitch out and stop the recording. And then I'd end up with 2 recordings that I have to try and glue together, which is really difficult just with the way my computer is. So I decided, and also the latency adds up. So if you've got me on Starlink and Pete on Starlink, you start adding up the latency, because unfortunately what happens is, I think we use the Zoom servers in Perth. I think there are servers in Perth. So whereas everyone's internet through NBN goes from your house to a server in Perth back to someone else's house, for Starlink it goes from our house up to Starlink, down to Wagen or Bullabulling or wherever the ground station is. Then the point of presence is across in Sydney. So that's to travel across to Sydney, across the Nullarbor, and then come back, then go to Bullabulling, then go back up to a satellite, then come back down to a house, or to the Zoom server. So it's the latency sort of added up a little bit. So I just decided to go onto fiber optic. I've still got a round satellite dish at home, but I'm just using it for Netflix on my Apple TVs and stuff. But I keep it running. But I also had one for a rental place. I don't know if you remember, I'd shown my elaborate...
showed the roof working with the
sandbags. With the Bunnings sandbags or bags of sand. But then I've also got a rectangular RV one, which I took around Australia, the same as what Pete did. And like I said, that's now on this roof, substituting the round one that's not working at the moment. So, I've actually got 3 Starlink services at the moment, with one not working. Hi, Carmen. Welcome to the best part, the better half of the show, the latter half. Oh, you're muted. You're totally muted.
Still muted.
Yeah, you're still muted. It's all right. There we go.
Unusual for me. Some people would like that.
Nigel's not here. Still here, I don't think. No, he's not.
No.
Nigel's
What's
gone.
happened? What news have I missed?
Not a lot. We obviously had the semi deliveries.
Yeah.
I'll sum it up for you. I'll sum it up for you, Carmen, in Harold's words. Bo, bo.
Oh, okay.
Papa. Yeah, that's right. So we had the semi delivery, and part of the semi delivery, what was interesting was Elon Musk confirmed that the Cybertruck is going to have a 1,000-volt battery pack, which is, well, it's sort of cool.
The Model 3 and Model Y at the moment are about 400 volts or a bit less for the standard range. So
yeah, so the semi's going to have 1,000-volt batteries, which we sort of knew, but then they actually said the Cybertruck will have 1,000-volt type of batteries, or might be 800 volts or whatever. So that's sort of interesting. Then the only other bit was there was a bit of detail that came out about the semi itself and the size of the battery and the fact that you can charge it 70% of its capacity in 30 minutes, which is useful if you're a truck driver because every 8 hours you need to take a half-hour break, and it means that you can charge.
That's not bad.
Sorry?
Half an hour in 8 hours is not a lot. When I was traveling in Europe, I was marveling at how the bus drivers manage very narrow streets. And I was told that they have 6 years training before they can take passengers. And also they have to have a break every 2 hours.
Yep. And, you notice in Europe, I think it's most of Europe, that I think there's a universal regulation that no major trucks can drive on Sunday. So you see them all parked up at the truck stops and petrol stations and stuff because they're prohibited from driving. I presume it's from midnight to midnight. They can't drive any part of a Sunday.
It's too noisy.
It's their mandatory, and it's their mandatory rest day sort of thing for safety.
Yeah, it's a family day.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so, and then I forget what the first article was. What was it? Because it's been so long ago since I recorded it. It was, Sentry mode. Now you've got an option where if you're in an area where you get a lot of false triggers because a lot of people walking past your car, or I don't know, if you got pets or something or whatever, you can then there's an option to turn off the cameras to sense people being close, and the only time it'll actually record is if someone hits the car hard enough to set off the car alarm. So I guess it's a marginal thing if people are annoyed that there's too many Sentry events if you're in a busy area. But again, if someone keys your car, which James actually had that video. Actually, James, if you can just bring that up again, please. That happened at night time at the charger at Bayswater. And this was to a family that I think from memory only had their car for 3 days before it was completely vandalized and keyed. And this person that was vandalizing it attempted to cut the power cord, the power cable, the charge cable, while it was live, and you could actually see the sparks because you had a pair of scissors, and you can see the sparks that it did. James is just bringing it up now. There you can see the scissors there. So there's the side all being keyed, completely wrecked, and then there's an image of her cutting the charge cable and shorting out the 240 volts or the 3-phase.
Was she an ex?
No, she's just a local
demented person.
A troubled young lady.
Yes. who
And
the cops
I
the
didn't
cops
know we
reckon.
had.
Sorry, go.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the cops. She's regularly known by the local coppers who then just went to her place and arrested her the next day.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was an alarm. What does it sound like?
Oh, it toots the horn, like it goes bar, 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 uses the horn, and then plays super duper loud music inside. So there's the horn blaring plus ridiculously loud music.
Okay.
So the loud music's obviously to try and disturb someone from trying to rifle through your car because it's quite annoying. But yeah, it's basically your horn going off, in like a tooting sort of noise. But you've got to really thump the windscreen really hard or the door panel really hard or break the glass for the alarm to go off, or for it to go off.
Yeah, fair enough. Mm.
But yes, that was the news. There wasn't a lot. I mean, there were a few other bits of news. People were saying, at the Peterson Museum where Tessa's got an exhibition, and that's in Los Angeles. I think it's Los Angeles. They have a semi-permanent exhibit that's going to be there until September next year of the Roadsters. So the Roadster, Cybertruck, a Tesla Semi, Model S Plaid, a few other things, and then they had like this. Yes, I guess it probably is sexy cars. Yeah, it probably is, and they've got a big poster or big image of one of the concept drawings of the Cybertruck, and people in internet land and Twitter land were getting all excited because it looked like it was a coupe, like it only had 2 doors, but it was just a concept drawing. It was nothing exciting, but the Twitter universe gets all excited. And I guess in other non-Tesla news, we had Neuralink, which we haven't really discussed, but that was the Neuralink show and tell day, which just the same as battery day and AI day is really just a recruitment exercise. What was interesting was because we had discussed this last week, where I said, I thought that maybe they were analysing brain signals to actually punch out the letters of show and tell. What it actually was they got a monkey they had like a display that had all the letters in a QWERTY keyboard, and each letter would sort of light up, and the monkey's job was just to put his finger on each letter as it was lighting up, so that the monkey wasn't spelling, the monkey was just following what was highlighted. But they had used a brain implant to read where I don't know if it was his eyes or whether his finger, one or the other, I think it might have been his finger, where he was thinking to point. Right. So it was picking that up and then interpreting that and basically putting it up on the screen. So, and they had a pig where they had an implant where they could make its leg contract without his brain doing it. Or also, like you could either pull his leg tighter or make it fling out, and a few other experiments they were showing. And their job, what they want to do ultimately is, if you've got paraplegia, so if you're a quadriplegic or a paraplegic, is to basically bridge the gap between your broken spinal cord. And if you're blind, they showed demonstrations where they had they had a TV screen and they were showing bits lit up, and they would follow the eye trackers because you have a camera looking at their eyes, and the monkey would follow where the dot was on the screen. And then what they did was, rather than putting a dot on the screen, they put a dot directly into their brain using the implant, and their eyes still followed where that dot was, that imaginary dot, well, induced dot. So yeah, sort of pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so if you're blind, it's just
there's potential to even give sight to people who are born blind.
That never could see, yeah.
They could never see, yeah.
Wow.
So it's all early days, but they also showed a robot that puts in wires into your brain that's thinner than a human hair. And in fact, even the needle that they have to use to guide the wire, a bit like a needle and thread sort of thing, I think that was roughly human hair thickness, Pete, I think. And they were describing how they actually have to custom make these almost by hand, sort of, using microscope and a special laser machine to cut this hair width piece of nichrome wire or whatever it was, tungsten wire, and make it into like a needle. So this robot could automatically inject, up to 1,000. Oh no, it's less than that. But anyway, like a couple of.
They did a demonstration. They did a live demonstration with a prosthetic brain, and I think they did. I think it was about 64 in about 15 minutes.
Good heavens!
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just try and get the show and tell. So, I just had it just then. In fact, at the start of the show, they show the actual robot. Here we go. And it's basically going to pull out a thread and then inject it just there. And then it's going to pull another one out. Lights up. That's a fake brain. So there's 2 threads, and those threads are thinner than a human hair. And then it pulls another one out and then injects it in. And where those dark bits are, it's like fake blood vessels. So its job is to avoid the blood vessels, basically. Because otherwise, if it hits one, you might get a hemorrhage.
That's a bit advanced.
Yes, and this is the show and tell where the monkey is basically just following with his eyes, but so it's sort of interesting. If you just look up Neuralink,
okay, I'll do that.
It's Neuralink. But I mean, what's really cool is the fact that like Elon hasn't got enough things to do in his life. So now he's basically trying to cure a lot of number of paraplegics out there, people that have got no vision, and other things, and
is Cathy Woods involved in this with her Arc Genomics?
No, because I don't think Neuralink's got to any sort of shareholder stage yet or anything. I'm not sure. I think, isn't Elon just funding this himself, Pete? Or
yeah, it's still a private company, she. I'm pretty sure that Genomics Fund invests only in listed entities. So, no, unfortunately,
but not yet. So, but apparently they're looking at doing human trials next year.
In 6 months.
Yeah, and I did see that they've actually got on their website, they've got a contact form for people in the States who may want to participate in human trials. And it says, if you've got blindness, if you're paraplegic, it's something else. I forget the other thing now. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, no, that's fantastic. Pete, you follow genomics a little bit. Has anything come up? I guess we would all know if it had, with any blood disorders and blood infusions of that nature. I thought they were doing some trials.
I'm not sure, Carmen. I don't follow. I think they've got. I think they had, at one point, they had something like 40 or 50 different companies in that fund. But now that the market has really shrunk the multiples, they've gone to, they've focused the portfolio a lot more, but it's still, 20 odd companies. But I don't recall anything. I'm sorry, Carmen.
No, if they had done something, I guess we'd hear. The first thing would be about the share price. I'm more interested in the medical breakthroughs, but Interesting.
Well, that's one thing that Elon Musk was highlighting at the Neuralink show and tell was they're sort of approaching it in a tech company sort of basis where they iterate very quickly and have new versions of improvements. And they were saying that, one of the monkeys, they actually did the first generation implant, then they removed it, and then they put in a second generation implant and proved that you could remove the first one and there's no damage, and also you could add another one and still have no damage. But they just want to keep iterating, and that they're going to make very fast advances, at least in that sort of field. But yeah.
That's great.
And then, of course, Elon's still doing Twitter stuff. They're doing grey check marks now for companies. No, that was for governments, I think. Companies were some other colour, and then normal people was a different colour check mark. And that's why you've got, 50 autopilot engineers now being seconded to Twitter.
Yes.
Because Twitter's important.
Yes. Yes, I think that's going to be his signature soon. His pet project.
And
Yes.
me as well.
And which?
The Boring Company.
Boring
Oh,
company.
yes. Yes, I read about that.
Yeah. But yes, who knows how that's going to go. This is something, I don't know if this sound is going to work. Tell me if you can hear this.
At the third stroke, it will be 10, 8, and 10 seconds.
Perfect.
That's
At the third stroke, it will be 10, 8, and 20 seconds.
I better just stop that before it gets annoying. Yeah, I just bumped into that because I think it was in 2019, Telstra actually turned that off as a service. That was a 1194
Yes.
phone number, and I just bumped into it by accident. But there was a guy that actually managed to record it. He had 2 hours notice before it was turned off, and he hurriedly recorded it and made a website that reproduces it. That's a bit of a blast
I
from the past.
remember using that number.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have smartwatches and we
didn't
didn't have mobile phones.
Oh, no. And sometimes you wanted to be sure of the time if traveling or on a plane.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a bit of a blast from the past.
Yeah. Excellent.
Cool. So has anyone else got any news or questions or anything? Any
Is there a function to tell you when you're going over the speed limit or warning about cameras or any of that? Because I haven't seen it.
There is one if you're speeding, if you're going over the speed limit, you can set, Harold will show you on the emulator in a second.
So if you press on the menu button, so if you just go onto the car menu and then go autopilot, you have got.
You can have
sorry, it's actually lower down. Sorry, it's actually lower, isn't it? Because it's got a warning. Let me just grab that image. I do have it. It might take a few moments to get up.
Yeah.
But there is a setting where you can either have a chime, so it can actually make noises at you, or it can just it just makes the speed limit symbol larger. It sort of like swells in size if you're going over the speed limit.
And
But
to be
if
honest, that's very hard to notice. So
True.
The only effective alarm, if you like, is the audible one, that chime.
I'm happy to have audible.
Yeah, so like I said, just go into the autopilot section and you'll just have to, I can't show you right now, but you just got to scroll down and it'll have the speed limit warning. I think it's just like one page downwards, and you can have chime just turn the chime on. And I think, Pete, is there an offset to that chime as well? Or is it?
Yeah, you can set it up 5Ks over, 10Ks over.
For the chime warning?
Yeah, the chime
cool.
warning.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, James. Yeah, so that's secure, Carmen. You'll know if you've accidentally gone past a change in speed zone or whatever. Provided the car knows.
Yeah, it's very, I'm going to have to be very careful because I was picked up and fined $500 and 3 points.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, because I was at the traffic lights and I had my phone on the charger, but I picked it up to have a closer look at an address I was going to. And I was silly not to have put it in the car.
Yep.
Now, I didn't do anything with the phone. I just looked at it.
Yep.
But I didn't notice Mr. Policeman on a motorbike filming me beside. And
He was waiting for you. I bet he could see you sort of squinting towards the phone,
Yeah.
and he's probably going, "Come on, Carmen, pick it up, pick it up.
Yeah,
I've got to get my my total,
Yeah.
my budget for today."
And I wasn't speeding, and I was sort of in a thinking mode. And as soon as the traffic lights went green and I turned left, he put his alarm on and came to stop me. And I was totally surprised. And he said, "Well, you didn't even see me," but he was on a really sort of a blind corner. And I said, "But I didn't use the phone. And would you like to have a look?" And he said, "No, I don't have to because I can charge you just by holding it."
Yes, that's the offence, unfortunately, is holding it.
And I said,
Have you paid the fine yet?
Yes. And I said,
Okay.
He said, "Are you sure you?" And I said, "Are you sure you want to fine me for that? I haven't been doing anything untoward. I was just checking an address." He said, "It doesn't matter what you were doing and what your intention was. You were holding it, and I've filmed you. So that is it." And I just stood there dumbfounded. And he said, "You can leave now."
Yeah, the only other way you could have done was ask for adjudication.
Yes.
And that'd be writing in asking for adjudication and just state that you're using it as a navigation device. That might be your only way with it, but then it just come down to whoever's looking at that point in time.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Because you're picking up your phone, you're actually using your phone as such, even though you're using it as a navigation device. But that may be a way out in relation to a navigation device.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been tested.
Yeah,
but I
it
think
has. It has to be in a cradle. It has to be held in a cradle, and the only reason you're allowed to touch the phone is to end a call or accept a call. And it has to be in a cradle. There's a guy in Queensland going to the High Court because he's been using his phone for navigation and Spotify with no SIM card. So he's taken to the point that it's not a phone because it doesn't have a SIM card in it. You can't find me, but that's Queensland law. But yeah, there's no flex on this one here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
and you'd have to read legislation to see what a phone is. Is it only a phone, or if it was like, what if it was a iPod? And some iPods have the same form factor as a phone.
Yeah,
like literally, they look, for all intents and purposes, they look like a phone.
And that's what the guy in Queensland's High Court challenges, that his is not a phone because it doesn't have a SIM card in it.
Well, I guess it highlighted the fact that our chargers are a little bit removed from sight, isn't it?
Oh, you mean your phone thingy? Because yes, because the charging pad is sort of on your yes.
Yeah. So
But you know, Carmen, what you could have done is, or what you should have done, and what you should do is if you're going to an address, put it as as a
I know, on my address book.
as an appointment, or you can put it as an appointment.
Yeah.
And as soon as you hop in the car will automatically
Yes,
navigate to that location.
And I have used it many times, and I love it. And it's automatic. But I was going not far, and I didn't bother to put it in, and I got caught. And of course, I've had a couple. It's all happened this year. I've had a couple of tickets for going over the speed limit, just unintentionally, but it's easy to do. So
you don't have to put it in your calendar. You can actually send the destination to the car. So if you're in Google Maps, you just go to share and then press the Tesla app icon, and and it will. It takes 2 or 3 seconds, but then it will tell you that the address has been sent to the car. So as soon as you get to the car, it will start navigating to that address. And if you've got more than one car on your app, it will send it to the car that was last active in your app.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good.
And you can do it with, if you've got an iPhone, you can also do it with Apple Maps as well. You can just go share and you can just share it to your Tesla app. Same thing.
Okay. I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, try it. And you can also, if you get into the habit of putting people's addresses, so James, I guess this is James.
Yep.
When can a mobile phone be used while driving? Probably never. Making and receiving. Oh, is it making? I thought it was only receiving.
No, you can accept, and you can press the call button, and you can press the hang up button. That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. What is using
But this
a
is
phone?
interesting about what's stationary parked. So if you pull over to the side of the road to make a phone call, you are stationary and you can't make a phone call. You've got to be parked.
Yes.
So the vehicle has been parked, handbrake is not on.
Hang on, so for the purposes of the offence, stationary but not parked means the vehicle is not moving but the engine is on and the vehicle is not in park and the handbrake is not on. However, what if you're at a red set of lights and you put the car in park and put the handbrake on?
What if you're in a Tesla when you're ever in park? Yeah. How do you prove you're in park?
Oh, it's got the little lock on the side. I've tested that.
But the other thing too is, are you permitted to be legally parked at a red set of lights in an intersection on the road reserve? And you're probably not. So they're probably going to say you can't be legally parked at an intersection on the road.
It says
unless an exception applies. Yeah. So I wouldn't bother testing that.
And there's even ones down here that talk about if your passengers in the car is watching a movie or on a laptop and the driver can see it, you can both get a fine.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So if your passenger leans over to you and goes, "Hey, look at this cool TikTok," it's a $1,500 fine for both of you.
Ouch.
Oh, wow.
So don't go looking at TikTok in your car, kids. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay.
And don't forget the road reserve is everything that's not your private land. So what you call the verge is still the road.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, didn't know that one either.
So basically there's no such thing as a verge. It's just what people call it. The whole thing that is not, let's call it from your letterbox to the other side of the road to the other letterbox, all of that is the road. So for the purposes of drink driving, don't sit in your car with the engine idling at the front of your house on the verge, because that's still the road.
Driving unlicensed vehicles.
Oh,
you
yes.
move a car to your front verge. You're driving unlicensed.
Yep.
Many a person's got done with that.
Yep.
Really?
So the verge is actually not your property.
It belongs to the city. Yeah.
Yeah. It
No,
belongs to
well,
the-
yeah, well, it's defined as the road reserve. It's effectively the road.
But you're still responsible for maintaining it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't own it.
No,
You
no,
gotta
unless the
maintain that.
council, no, unless the council mows it. So where I am or where I was, the council mows a lot of the verges because they're uninhabited houses and there's blocks of land as well, and the council will mow it. But only the road reserve section, the verge section.
Wow.
And then if you don't mow your bit, they'll fine you just like Peter Ship found out.
Yeah, $350.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a block of land. You got to do a fire break.
Well, it's not the fire break anymore. It's the whole lot. So
Oh, is it the whole lot?
It's
Oh,
the whole lot. Because I said, is that just mean a fire break around the outside? No. You got to do the whole lot.
So
That's
it's
something
clearing.
I didn't
It's
know
clearing. No, I
Yeah.
didn't do that.
and yet, of course, as soon as Peter builds a house on it, he could
Doesn't matter
just
what
let the garden go and be. He could sow wheat, a crop of wheat all the way round, and have nothing but dry wheat and hay bales or whatever he wants, and that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yes, and if you have rentals that don't care.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, well,
So Carmen, you need to, yes, you do need to put your chime warning bell on
yes.
and just be acutely aware of the speed limit. And also bear in mind that your car doesn't always know the speed limit either. So sometimes, I mean, even on the freeway now, when you go Kwinana Freeway North, where it's the smart freeway, the 80 zone is about 300 meters or 400 meters sooner than it used to be. And the car still shows 100, still
Oh.
reads 100 when you go past where it actually is 80.
Yes, I was going to Karen up and I saw all that was changing. They had it blocked. Yeah.
Well, and Karrinyup, you got to be careful because on that section where you go past Hutton Street up the
Yes.
freeway, that's 80 because of roadworks, but the car just thinks it's 100.
Yes.
And I must admit, most people speed for at least the first one or two speed limit signs, and then even then they grudgingly do about 90 in that area. So yeah, you got to watch out. But look, you can do it. It is possible. For my sins, and they were inadvertent, I was on double or nothing for a year. So I managed for a year,
Oh, wow.
because if you get an excess of points, you're invited to have a 3-month holiday, or you can nominate double or nothing. And on double or nothing, you've got to have effectively 0 offences of any sort, basically, for a year. And if you don't manage it, you then get 6 months off. So I managed it, no problem, in a conventional car.
Well, that's pretty good.
Years and years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
I think
and
the
I've-
whole system is very unfair because it's very much skewed against people who drive a lot. Because
Well, yeah, exactly. And
You know, and-
I mean, if you don't drive much, it's easy to do. But if you drive every day a lot, then
Exactly.
and you go to places where you're not familiar with, etc. I got a ticket once for being too slow in red lights because the road had changed, and I went to the middle and stopped to work out which way to go, and the lights changed. And I queried that, and I went to, in the old days when you went to Wellington Street and had a look at the photo, and I said, I was definitely not speeding, I know that, and I wasn't sure where to go, which is why I was a little bit slow, because normally, well, my record shows that I can speed, but this was very unusual. And I asked him to have a look, and he said, lady, if you don't know where you're going, you check it before you drive. And I said, but I didn't know the road had changed. Why would I check it?
It's revenue
Exactly.
driven. They're not interested in excuses.
It was a fact, Peter.
I know that, but they're not interested. They're not interested.
No, and they booked me anyway.
Yeah.
And 3 years is a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
a problem.
It's
Yep.
like the guy who booked you for your phone. He should be in public relations, don't you reckon?
Yes,
With his
yeah,
attitude.
yeah. Yes, I was so shocked. I just stood there and he said, well, you can go now. I just stood there looking at him dumbfounded. And I thought, wow. And then I heard in the radio the last couple of days that they're trialing all of these and that 11,000 people or so got caught, but they would not get a ticket. But it
That's
was
right.
New South Wales.
No, it also applies in WA.
There's
Why did
cameras.
I get booked? Why did I get booked?
No. That's different. No, that was you got booked in person. They've actually, and they've shown photos of this.
Oh.
They had it on Leach Highway on a section near Welshpool Road, and they've had it in other places as well, where they got this trailer and they look like infrared heat lamps, like they're sort of like dark sort of rectangles that are up on a tripod sort of thing, high in the air, sort of looking down towards the car, and there's like high set and a low set. And they were taking photos inside the cabin, and they showed people on their phones, and you could just see the phone on their lap, or they were holding it, or it was up to their ear, or playing with the phone.
There's
and
actually
other
two of
things.
them point to point. They're point to
So-
point cameras. You'll have two of them. There's point to point, you know, like the
Yep.
ones down on Forest Highway, but they're mobile ones. And they've also detect the phones as well. So it's speed, phones,
Yes.
and point to point.
And I think the cameras, there's also those cameras under the Mill Point Road on-ramp to the freeway going north on Kwinana Freeway. I think they are also a version of that same thing, because if you look on the actual, the on-ramp, which is a single lane bridge curving over the freeway, you've actually got these rectangular things in each lane. So there are 3 of them. I think there's 3 lanes there, 3 of them. Plus you've got a rear facing camera that looks from behind you, like you go past it and it's facing to the back of your car. And there's another one that's past that on-ramp, looking towards you. So I think that's also part of this trial, but they have to change the legislation, I think, as to what it means to be observed or be to approve photographic evidence as a still photo rather than a police person. There you go. That's yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And that was on Leach Highway, or one of the versions of that. Yep. That's it. And it's high up so that you can see down into your lap, basically. So you can see if you're using your phone. Someone holding a packet of cigarettes or a can of Coke. Yes.
Wow.
And there is a difference between a pack of Winnie Blues and a there you go. Oh, a bit busted.
Yeah, that's a bit obvious.
That's a bit obvious.
That's the full way, going the full way there.
Fines, no fines. Yes, that's right. Because they actually mentioned the other day when they publicised this that they have to alter legislation to actually make it enforceable with that evidence. But there you go.
Oh my gosh.
So are those just for phones, or do they measure speed as well?
I think it's a combo, because
Right.
I think it's so Kelsey, was it both? Because you're saying it's point-to-point cameras, but
Yeah, it says Australian first mobile point-to-point cameras trial over a 3-month period with the capability of target speeding, mobile phones and seatbelts.
Okay.
So the point-to-point is just timing the distance.
Yeah.
Which is clever, because that means you've got to consistently be below the speed limit or at the speed limit. You can't just sort of slow down just right where the camera is. Which they got in Bunbury on the Forest Highway.
How do they do that? Have they got one tuned at a obviously different spot on the road versus the other one, and then they time difference?
Yeah, so they optically read your number plate, they'd register it, and then when that same car goes to the second point, goes to the first point, Rego's picked up, probably on a database or whatever, and then you get picked up at the second point, and then they just time how long it took for you to get from point A to point B over that distance. So, you know, if it was 100 Ks, if it was 100 Ks distance and you took less than an hour, then you're doing more than 100 Ks an hour or whatever.
Oh, no, I understand that, but it looked like both cameras were on that mobile unit. So,
might have been for 2 lanes. Might have been the 2 lanes. So one camera's basically looking at one lane, and the other camera is looking at the other lane.
So then, in order to have a point-to-point, then they would have to have a second mobile unit, wouldn't they?
Yes, another trailer with the same setup further down the road.
Because they've been, I've seen that in Joondalup, they've had that, but they've only had the one unit. They never
We've
had.
got a lot of fixed cameras in New South Wales, Victoria, and Queensland. They're point to point. They check your average speed, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
You might find the ones in Joondalup, they're just doing the phone
Camera.
checking. They're not doing the point to point.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
No point doing point to point in the city. They do that in the country.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think I saw another setup which was interesting on what's the road? Not North that where Riverton Shops is, Pete Ship.
Adros. In Adros.
No. Geez. Hang on 2 seconds.
I can't remember that at all.
Sorry, it's High Road, on High Road. So near the recreation centre on High Road, there was, you know how you have those car counters that sometimes measure speed or just the number of cars going across. You got the two rubber.
They're like a
hose sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. And you usually have like this grey box that the hoses go to, and that's often chained to a pole, and that's part of the counter thing. Well, what this thing had was had this sort of similar. It's like a briefcase sized or something like that sort of. Well, actually, it's like a carry-on luggage sort of size box. But it had like a telescoping pole. It was black. It was like a huge selfie stick sort of thing, like telescoping. But it went up about more than 3 meters, maybe 4 meters up in the air, and it looked like it had a tiny camera on the end of it, looking downwards. So I wondered if that was another version of a mobile phone catching camera.
Could well
so maybe
be.
they're trialing a few different versions, and that was a lot harder to spot because it was just this little grey box with a black thin pole, almost looked like a conduit, sort of straight up in the air, thin pole with this little camera on the top of it, probably looking down at unsuspecting people using their phones.
Yeah.
Wasn't there legislation at one point that said that if you are going to have a mobile speed camera, you've got to have a sign before, and I think that but you got to let people know that there's a speed camera there.
They're gone.
I think that was only courtesy. That was sort of, they reckoned it was part of the deterrent.
Right.
I mean, I reckon it was sort of part of the, if you're stupid enough to still be speeding when you see the sign. Anyway, it's just, over East they don't do that. They hide them in wheelie bins and stuff and all sorts of sneaky ways.
Because they started off by first putting them in front, then they started putting them after the camera, and then they started putting them in the bushes where you couldn't see it and on an angle, and now they don't even bother with them at all. So.
And now they also have them facing backwards so that, especially if you go the freeway, go through the city on the freeway north, and you get over where the Vincent Street, or where it becomes Charles Street, you got an off-ramp which goes to the right to become Charles Street, and then the freeway actually bends to the left to go towards Leederville. There's a bit of Armco, and they usually tuck it just in that corner, and it actually faces away from you. It faces towards the back of the car. I'll just bring it up here. It's as you come through the city. Oops, sorry, that didn't work. as you come through the city, and Charles Street bends out there. As you bend here, there's actually a bit of Armco right about here, where this is up in the air, but just as it comes back, there's usually in this little corner here, they'll put the camera right here, but it's facing that direction. So as you go along, if you look over your shoulder, you can see the camera looking at the back of your car. So you never really see it. And they do that quite often. But yeah, Pete, they've given up on, they don't warn you anymore. And the good thing is, I think they process fines a lot quicker these days. They used to take weeks and weeks.
No, it's still, I got 4 in the last 3 years. I got 2 with 2 demerit points and 2 without any demerit points. But yeah, all 4 of them came a good 6 weeks after the event. And yeah, we had no idea. And 2 of them were taken from behind, and the other 2 that were so dark that you couldn't even tell whether it was a male or a female, or you could barely tell whether it was a monkey or a person in there. So,
well, that can sometimes be helpful because you haven't got to nominate the driver.
Well, not really, because I've been lending my cars out to people, and I didn't know whether and I think the law is that you're supposed to always know who the driver is. But I mean, unless you keep a diary, and who does that? I would just spontaneously, lend the car to friends or people that are looking at buying a car, and none of them owned up. And I don't know if it was me, if it was my wife, if it was them. Especially the ones taken from behind. I mean, they wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known. My wife wouldn't have known. So I couldn't be bothered, and I just paid it. But
we had that in Cannington, and they were so smart. It was taken from the rear, couldn't see who was driving at all. I said, "Well, you're so smart. You tell me." How can they? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Forget it.
But the onus,
next time we'll find it. Well, next time didn't come, but they're so smart. They got to take some responsibility.
They've got the onus. I think they've now put the onus on the owner of the car. No, well, it's the owner of the car, or who's the car's registered to be aware of. Because actually, there used to be a bit of a dodge on company cars, because if it was registered in the company name, you'd just go, well, I don't know who it was, and then the company would just pay the fine, and no one would get the points. But then I think they changed the law to put the onus on the companies to keep a register, and I think it's almost impossible for a company to go, we don't know. They virtually have to nominate someone, basically, or they'll get in big trouble, or maybe the fine is double or something, or whatever. So, but just don't speed. But then, I mean, I've often sped inadvertently, because, like I said, on the freeway, Kwinana Freeway, the car doesn't pick up the new 80 zone or location of it, so you can easily just glide through and not notice.
Well, some of the signs are set low, the temporary signs, so you don't see if there's a car, and the car certainly doesn't see them always. So it's a real trap.
Yeah, so it's really easy to accidentally, and there are people that intentionally speed because that's what they do, but there are a lot of us that just accidentally do it, and it's just, you get the same fine and the same points.
But yeah, what's unfair is that for people that drive, 50 or 60,000 kilometres versus someone that drives 10,000 or 5,000 kilometres a year, the person driving 60,000 kilometres is, on the road 12 times as much as a person driving 5,000, yet they both get the same number of points. So that's a bit unfair.
It is.
Yeah, well, if you got you got 12 points in 3 years, so what's that? That's 4 points a year. That's 4 points every 15,000 Ks. So if you travel 30,000 Ks a year, you should get 8 points per year allocation.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's easy for me to say because I haven't had any points for a while, quite a while, like
I had a good
6 years.
about 5 or 6 years, and I didn't have a single point. And just in the last 5 years, for some reason, it's because I've been lending my cars out. I reckon that's why. That's the only thing that's changed. So, but yeah. or maybe
And the
because
fact-
I'm driving faster cars. Maybe that's got something to do with it too.
And the fact that you've just got a Tesla 5 years ago, or well, a bit less than 5 years ago.
Yep. Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
well.
well, it's Peter's. Oh, not yet. It's only 10:40.
Oh, it's like bedtime.
What's happened to the shares?
Oh, okay. Tesla's share price.
I'll be
let's
up
have a
early,
look.
so I'll bid you adieu.
All right. See
No,
you,
I think
James.
so.
Take care, mate.
Yes,
Enjoy
good
Down-
night.
Jane,
Down slightly. I'll just spotlight that so we can see better.
Oh,
That's not right because they haven't. They're not. Oh yeah, they are down 1%. Just over. They just heard me. Yeah, so they're a cheap buy at the moment. Yeah, bit cheap. So we're not going to be squillionaires for a while yet, Carmen, until the
No.
price gets a bit better.
I think so.
But I think Kathy Wood was actually buying some Tesla shares a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, good.
Because whenever the price goes up, she sells, and whenever it goes down, she buys because she has to balance
Only
her,
got
her
10%.
portfolio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
10% of her share. Hmm.
and maybe she's worked out that it makes sense to buy when they're low and sell when they're high.
What a revelation!
Which is
Wonderful discovery.
most investors do the exact opposite. You would think,
Yeah.
when they're going down, oh no, they're going down, we'll sell. When they're going up, oh, they're going up, we've got to buy some. So rather than thinking of them as expensive or cheap, so or on sale or marked up.
that was the other bit of news that I sort of didn't put in because it's just too wishy-washy and it's just unreliable. Is there's rumors of Tesla's Shanghai Gigafactory cutting the production of Model Ys by 20%, but it's kind of it's been in Reuters
Well,
and others have
Tesla-
reported it.
Tesla China have denied it in a
Yes,
tweet. Yeah.
that's right. So they've denied it, although Tesla have denied other items in the past as well, only to have actually done a very similar thing a few weeks later. So, but it's just not news if you don't have a definitive source and if you know for sure. And you never quite know why they might be reducing production. I mean, that could also be to do with, China's sent, was it a couple of hundred Chinese personnel from Shanghai to Fremont to assist with the upgrading of the Model 3 line. So, maybe they're going to reduce a bit of production. Maybe there's a little bit of still COVID, related parts issues. So maybe they might want to reduce production because there are a few less, some less parts. But it's not really news unless it's happened. Same as, there's a couple of permits that Tesla have gotten to modify parts of the Fremont factory. And then there's talk of, well, is this maybe to do with the revised Model 3, which it might have, or it might not. So there's lots of little bits of semi-news that's great gossip, but, everything could change next week and it could be totally wrong. One thing we've heard in Perth is that there's some people who have had Model Ys fairly recently ordered that thought they were going to get them in May, and they're getting them this month, which is good.
If they're
But
ready.
who knows? Yeah, if they're ready, or maybe there were some cancellations, or who really knows? So we won't really know until next year what's going on. bearing in mind there is a bit of a global recession starting. You know, the UK's in a recession. I think quite a few European countries are.
Yes.
And they got the big energy crisis. You know, imagine if your energy costs went up triple, you know, that'd sort of affect people buying various things. Hey, Richard.
Can I just jump back in on that one?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just tidying up and all that. So one of the things that actually, like, I'm still trying to get my head around it. England is cold and dark, but normally it isn't inside. So first night we were there, we were staying with a mate of mine, and him and his partner are, you know, well off, Londonites, good jobs, no kids. And you literally walk into a room and turn the light on, and one of them will walk behind you and turn the light off. It's like,
wow.
And the heating never went on. It's like, and these are people that have got, you know, rental portfolios and, you know, not on the breadline.
But is that a social justice? Are they doing it for the cause, or is it because of the cost?
Don't give a shit about environmental reasons or
no. What I mean is,
like,
has there been a campaign, like an ad campaign, to say, "Hey, do the right thing," you know, to try and save power or something? Do you know, or did you notice?
But it was like, literally, you just got used to just sitting there in the dark or like in the gleam of the light coming through the window, and you know, and it was the same at my Emma's dad, but like he's older and he's always been like that. It, like, you know, we're trying to like pack in the morning to get off in the car, and you're trying to load bags in, and the light keeps getting turned off. You're like, like, and I'm not blaming him for it, but and the only house that was actually not like that was my mum's, because I pay the bills, and I'm like, I'm going to turn that light on, and that's going to stay on, and that heating's going up.
But she still would have shook her head, going, "Oh, my golden haired boy, he's just never good on light switches."
I was like, that's why I installed all of these LED globes so that we could turn the lights on.
The funny thing is, people fret about, you know, lights being left on, and they go around turning lights off while they leave their air conditioner, you know, on, and the lights might be, you know, even if they're not LEDs, even if they're, you know, there might be 10% of the bill, whereas, you know, the aircon's probably 50-60% of the bill. But you know, they'll leave the aircon running when it doesn't need to be, or they'll have it at the wrong temperature or what have you. But they'll go around turning lights off.
Yeah.
And Richard, the lights add. Oh, sorry, go, Carmen.
No. I notice a lot of automatic lighting everywhere. Even all the public bathrooms, they were a pain because it didn't last very long.
Yeah, you have to wave your hands to get up so that the passive infrared would pick it up again to turn the lights back on. Yeah, you're right, Carmen.
So you go to the toilet, you can't be still. You got to be moving around.
Well,
keep waving your hands around.
Actually, you're dead right, Carmen, because I went to like one of those automatic public toilets, and when you close the door, it's pitch black dark. There's no windows.
Yeah.
It's completely enclosed.
Yes.
I had the biggest scare. Harold, what's that caravan park just at the north of WA before you get to Northern Territory? The one that's off the beaten track. You go about, I don't know, 10K along the dirt road.
Oh, that's Portsmouth Caravan Park.
Portsmouth Caravan Park. So this is the one that I famously got to at about 9 o'clock at night, and
yes.
And so everyone had everything on, and the owner he came to watch me plug the CTEC charger in, the DC charger in. And I said to him, I said, look, I've got two chargers. I've got the fast one and the slow one. I'm happy to, you know, go one or the other. But yeah, obviously the fast one draws a lot more. So the whole caravan park's off grid. It just runs off a couple of generators. And he's like, no, go give the, you know, fast ones a crack. And I'm like, you sure? And he goes, yeah, give it a crack. I go, okay, no worries. So I plugged it in, and sure enough, about 30 seconds later, the whole caravan park went dark. So he ran over, and because he was only running one of the generators and fired up the other one. And so then I obviously only put it on the, mind you, when I drove in, you know, at 9 o'clock at night, everyone's already set up. They're just, you know, having their dinner, blah, blah. So everyone saw this Tesla coming in, and all the kids are going, oh, it's a Tesla, it's a Tesla. They're all wondering, you know, what the hell I'm doing there. And then, you know, 5 minutes later, all the lights go out. So people sort of
was that 20 kilowatt DC charger?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but then everything came back on, and so then I decided to go for a shower, and I'm having a shower, and about halfway through, I hear this bang, and the lights go out, and the water goes cold, and I'm like, "Oh, you're kidding me!" And I just thought, "No way, have I done it again?" But this time I was charging just on 11 kilowatts, and I thought, if it's gone on that, I won't be able to charge overnight. Have I got enough to go to the next? You know, it's 10 o'clock at night now. Where am I going to find the next? And I was absolutely shitting it. I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to? And then I realised it was one of those push button ones. That's and the noise that it made is because it was a portable, and it was on those, you know, very shonky walls. When it popped out, it shook the whole wall. So that's what scared the
poor you.
That's a pain because it's dark and you got to then find the button.
Yes, you can't
it's hard
see
to
it.
find.
You have to have your mobile phone with you to use the torch.
But if you're in the shower and you don't want to get it wet,
yeah.
Yes. Oh dear.
No, good night all. I must be off.
Good night, Peter. Take care, mate.
Hopefully you're just leaving, not off.
Yeah.
So Richard, in defence of leaving the lights on, because it's winter, of course, if the light's on, all it's doing is going to produce waste heat sort of thing, or a little bit of light that gets turned into heat. So you could say, well, you're adding to heating the place slightly.
Yeah.
No, we LEDs.
Well, you know, and everyone's turning the heating off and the lights off, but they're running the plasma TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
plasmas are lovely. They're nice and toasty warm.
Wicked.
The old plasmas.
Really
yeah.
No heating needed.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
that's why we bought the Sony Bravia, actually. That was an absolute bargain of a find. Because it's like 150 watts.
Yep.
And it's, you know, it's, I don't know, 42 inch, something like that. So 46. So
yep.
That's been, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's been going for years.
Well, the modern TVs now, they're such low power and such low weight. You can just hold them, you know, I've got, I can't show it to you because I can't turn, but I've got like a 70-inch LCD, and it's just, I just carried it up the stairs. Like,
wow.
It was just awkward because it's just big, but it's not heavy, you know, and they use bugger all power. It's amazing.
Right.
But there you go. All right, so it's nearly Pete's bedtime. We got any last drinks or anything before we go? Oops, I just got to get myself set up. Obviously, I'll be in Vienna next week, so hopefully everything will work. Fingers crossed.
I mean, how long are you there for Christmas?
Oh, how gorgeous.
Nearly 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Wicked.
So I've got, let me see, I've got the Ask Us Anything on the 14th, the 21st, the 28th, and the 4th of January.
Oh, so my goodness. See you next year.
They'll all be away. Yeah. So, we leave on I think it's Saturday, the 7th of January.
Oh, yeah.
On the A380, and then get back at, 5:30 on the Sunday.
Nice. Who are you flying with?
Qantas or Emirates. Well, it's Emirates.
Oh, yeah.
A380.
Emirates with a Qantas ticket.
Emirates with a Qantas ticket, yeah.
Be very careful because I had a little incident on the plane, and I had a Qantas ticket and flew Emirates. There were two issues. One is that I have requested an aisle seat on my Qantas profile. And when I wasn't put on an aisle seat and I got to Dubai, I asked Emirates and they said they knew nothing about it. So they don't, that doesn't follow through. And then I bought some duty free, which I shouldn't have bought anyway, but I did. And the attendant was a young boy who said that he was fairly new. And I ordered 3 items and I got charged 3 amounts. And then he asked me to sign the total. And I said, but you've just done the 3 items. And he said, oh no, this isn't going through. This is just a signature to show the total that we've sold. When I got my bank statement, I was charged twice the full amount plus the 3 items that added to the full amount were on Amex. And I'm still sorting it out with Amex out of a principle. I've said, no, I don't care. He said, and they said, they asked Emirates and Emirates said I had signed the receipt, which I had. But I said, but what was the receipt for? I want you to tell me what that receipt was for and what the other receipts were for. So they've opened the case for the 3rd time, but I still haven't got any joy. And I rang Emirates, and you have to fill it in through the website. And on the website, you have to put your ticket number for Emirates, but the ticket number is from Qantas.
Yes.
So it didn't
Yeah,
work.
of course.
So then I told Qantas, and they said, we can't do anything because it was an Emirates plane.
All right.
The moral of the story is don't buy any duty free.
Yes, exactly.
There is that.
Exactly. Because it's never cheaper on the plane. It's probably the dearest it could ever be on the plane.
It's not actually too bad. There were just little specific items.
Yeah.
It was only $150, but the whole thing. But they were just quirky little things, and I thought, oh, it'll be great for a gift to so and so.
Yep.
Saves time, basically. But
Yep.
I'm a little bit more cautious now, and I think this little kid had done it before. He was very polished.
Might be good for his KPIs.
Yeah,
going,
right.
look, I sold it twice. Look how good that is in the
Yep.
stock. Or unless, well, we don't know him, but unless he intended to pinch, like he basically sold you 3
yeah.
items twice, and then he pocketed 1 set of those 3 items.
I would think
Yep.
so. They were
So who
they were
knows?
that type that would have been good, but
right.
he was just very he rehearsed it.
Do you know that there's an Amazon scam? One of my cousins that I saw when I was back in the UK was telling me about. He said because he had some Amazon items coming to my mum's house, and he said, "Oh, well, I'm just going to go and open up my see if I've got some hair gel this time." And I'm like, "What are you on about?" He's like, "I thought you ordered headphones." He's like, "Yeah." But what some of the Amazon employees do is all the packages are based on weight. So what they do is if they say, "Oh, well, I want to take these headphones," they find something else that's the exact weight of those headphones, but the system weighs the box on the way out and says, "Yep, that's all good. That's the right weight I'm expecting." And then you get shower gel or hair cream or whatever it might be, and
They keep the
and
headphones.
they swipe the headphones.
Wow.
So he said he's had
That's
that
it.
happen before, where he's had something turn up and go, "What the hell is this?" Like some cheap item, but yeah, that's how they do it.
Wow. But you'd think that the picker would be known to the system because they probably get given the job, with barcodes and scanning and. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm imagining that they've worked a way around that.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
otherwise you do it once and then you get caught.
Yeah, you get caught and that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
guess all this stuff is very
I think I
tempting.
did ask that actually because I said, surely you can track it through the serial number, and he said something in response to that, and I was like, "Oh, right," but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, sorry, Common.
No, I think it's just tempting for them, and they certainly know all the tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I got caught in Venice was, buying some stupid, I forget what it was now, some novelty thing at night time. And of course, you hand over euros. They say it's, I don't know, it was 2 lots of things for €7. Well, yeah, €7 or €5 something. You give them a 10 or a 20 euro note, and they give you back change, but it's in Romanian whatever's like some other non-euro currency that looks similar, and we don't know because we're not used to it, and it's dark and whatever. So you think you're getting 15 euros change, but you're actually getting 20 cents change or $3 or a dollar change instead.
Yes,
So that's very common.
Yeah.
Or the way they hand it to you, it looks like the ones on the ends are euros, or and
yes,
but the
And
middle
there's
ones
stuff-
aren't. Like
Yeah.
Well, we have a little
learned.
bit of that here because I've been to a few restaurants lately, and when I came back, the people that had been helping me looking after things, I took them out and just chatting, and I just signed the bill and until I got home and had a read of it, and they're adding tips automatically
Yeah.
Ooh.
on a
Oof.
bill, and they were 20%. It
Wow.
wasn't just $10. So I think in future I'm going to check the bill thoroughly, because there's no guarantee that you're getting billed, particularly when you look busy and you're talking to people. They just quietly added in there, and the bill wasn't right.
So in Spain, Carmen, do you customarily tip for wait staff
No,
in Spain?
not really.
Yeah, because in Austria
Has to
they
be
seem to.
very exceptional.
Yeah, right. Because in Austria they seem to be tipping mostly. In the UK, Richard, is there a lot of tipping? That's not a regular thing, is it?
Not really. It is if you're in a restaurant, but like not if you're in a pub.
Right.
say,
Yes.
Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wherever there is a lot of Americans, they won't get out of the habit. We were on the Viking ship, and the Americans are tipping, and I said, "Don't do that,
Yeah.
because you're
Oh,
training
Americans are
them."
terrible. They set a precedent everywhere.
Yeah, you're training them, and they said, "Oh no, but it's a must." And I'm saying it is not a must.
No, it's
No.
I
only
mean,
in the
it depends
States
how much they
because they
get
get paid. Yeah, they get paid hardly anything in the States, and that's how they make their money is on tips.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you have to be paid a proper wage,
Yes,
at
yeah,
least reasonably.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But
All
have
right.
fun anyway.
Oh yes, yeah, I definitely will. Oh look, I just
Yeah,
can't wait to eat.
have an
I just
amazing time, mate.
Can't wait to have all that awesome food and some nice
Oh.
wheat beers, and oh man, yeah, it's just going to be nice. But
It's gonna be
anyway.
so good.
But I will be back next week, one way or another, and the weeks after, so it's all good.
Excellent.
So Pete, how would you round out this awesome show?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay at the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
And making the future awesome, and have a great trip.
Yes.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
let's
Carmen. Thanks, everyone, for
enjoy.
watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great week. See you next week on Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Toodles, chaps.
See ya.